friends. This is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average babes come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A place where being yourself is the ultimate goal, where your opinion, your story, and your individual experience matters. Join me, your host B, and my guests for real and raw talks every week, laying it all out there so we can all help each other learn more, grow deeper, and evolve collectively. Now keep in mind, as a disclaimer, no one here is an expert and no one is giving any advice. This is strictly our opinions, thoughts, feelings, and for entertainment purposes only. Now with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. I hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy. I am the host of the show. And today, you guys, we are on episode 243, Being Real About Parasite Cleansing with my girl, Robyn. You guys, we have Robyn coming back on the show, and we're not talking about soul fracturing or pressures or anything like that. Today, we're talking about gut health, parasite cleansing, and her whole journey there and all the discoveries that she's made. I'm so excited for you guys to hear this amazing episode. I learned so much. I hope you guys are going to learn so much. I'm so motivated to go and do more things, taking care of my gut health more now than I ever have, thanks to having an amazing woman like Robyn in my background that's going to be able to help me and support me and you guys as well. But before we get on to this electric interview, you guys, I just want to remind you, if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or Rumble, to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment or review if you're feeling so kind. It helps me so much. And if you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Instagram or TikTok at the Be Real Babe or the Be Real Babe podcast. Don't forget that I'm also on YouTube Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays we keep up with Canada and I talk about all Canadian news and things going on up here. And then on Wednesdays I do a segment called Internet Insanity where I talk about random crazy shit, usually from the States, unfortunately, that happens in the world, and just kind of pick your guys' brain about the insanity of which the internet is. And then on Fridays, we have the podcast on Apple, Spotify, and Rumble. Thank you guys so much for supporting season 10. I can't believe we're halfway through it. I'm almost done. And just a reminder, I do have 1 or 2 episodes left that I could do for interviews for the final month of season 10. So please make sure to reach out to me at theberealbabe@hotmail.com. I would love to have you, or reach out on either social medias. And I think you can also comment on Spotify now if you'd like to be on an episode. So thank you guys again so much for the love and support. I cannot believe I'm very close to hitting 20,000 plays, and that's all thanks to you guys. So again, thank you so much for your love and support. Now I'm going to shut the fuck up and let's get to this amazing episode. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And with me today, I have a very special returning guest. I'd like to welcome Robyn back to the show. Hey, babe, how's it going?
Hey girl, I'm so excited to chat again. I feel like every time we chat, it's like a therapy session.
I know. That's why I feel so guilty sometimes, because I'm always bringing my friends on to talk to me and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a show. But people keep watching it. So obviously me and my friends have stellar conversations. And our first one was just 5 episodes ago. And so I was thinking about this before. I didn't want to introduce you as Girl Robyn because I wanted you to be able to just be Robyn in this episode. But I do want you to tell everyone, in case they didn't listen to Being Real with Girl Robyn, which was 238, let's just recap who you are, and then we'll go into talking about gut health and parasite cleansing and what brought you there. But if they didn't hear who the amazing Girl Robyn is before, tell us a little bit about her.
Well, hey, great to meet you guys. Thanks for tuning in. As you know, Brandy, we're going to talk about parasite cleansing and gut health today, but this has definitely been a journey. And so if anyone follows me online, I created a website going back to 2008, and it's called grillgirl.com. And so Robyn is the grill girl behind grillgirl.com. And so really it's been my charge for many years to get women to embrace grilling. And it's opened up a lot of cool opportunities for me. I'm on a competition barbecue team. I've written a cookbook. I'm writing another cookbook right now, which I really want to talk more about today, because this one really leans into gut health, actually, is like really one of the foundational principles for it. And but yeah, specifically on your episode, I shared some really personal stuff that was not about grilling. It was about, I would say, how my drive and I just say like putting myself under so much pressure caused me to realize that I had actually done some damage to myself, and something that it took me a long time to realize what was going on. And it's a very niche, not known topic called soul fracturing. And so it was it was a very personal thing I shared, but I wanted to share it on your podcast because I felt like it could help people. So for anyone who hasn't caught that, it's a good one, right?
It's
We
a
go
very
deep.
good one. We go so
And
deep. I'm so proud of you. And it was well received, just so everyone's clear. It was very well received. Like lots of good comments. I haven't been like, that girl Robyn is crazy. Like not once. I've not heard that yet. So I definitely, and so I thought that was kind of beautiful because it was like the first episode was about your like mental spiritual breaking essentially and what led you to the healing, and then this one is like the physical body, which also
yeah,
ties to the spiritual and mental, of course. So it's just like when you're like, let's talk about parasite cleansing, I was like, this is perfect because it's like they go hand in hand, but they're two different topics that need to be talked about separately, right? But that have changed your life monumentally and led you down all these paths, like we were just saying. Like obviously there's a divine intervention here linking us together, you getting all this download of information and then me helping you on my tinier platform spread it, but a place where we talk about real life shit no matter what anybody fucking thinks, because this is real life, this is being real, right?
amen, sister. And I was really real in that episode.
You
And I hope that other women can listen to that and realize like we put ourselves under so much pressure as women, as career women, comparing ourselves to others, trying to be all the things to all the people. And it's just, that's not realistic. And I think we just have to give ourselves some grace. And what I talked about in that episode was like, literally, I broke myself doing that. Right. So, learn from that episode on things not to do. And really just, we do need to give ourselves some grace. And so that was what a lot of it was really, yeah, some spiritual and mental stuff I went through that were really learning experiences for me. And so now I wanted to talk about gut health because I think that people don't realize that your gut is your second brain.
yes.
And a lot of the reasons even like grill girl is a thing was because of the way I eat, which is very low carb, but a lot of that had to do with um, working on my gut issues. Like I've had issues for a very long time. And what I think a lot of people have these days is is a compromised gut, because I don't think you can live in today's world, at least if you live in the United States or Canada, and not have a compromised gut because of what's in our food supply.
100%.
And if you've ever visited like Europe or other places and you're like, wow, this is so cool, I can like eat the bread and the fruit and I don't feel like shit and all the things, well, that's because like you're in a different environment and they actually have laws that protect you from, they like, are they perfect? No, but they've actually really made it so that they're not poisoning their population as much as we are over here. And so you really have to advocate for yourself to really be healthy and to heal your gut, because like it is, we are under attack from all angles. And it's not just the food, it's the water, it's the soil that the food is grown in, it's the air, it's the chemicals they spray us with every freaking day,
So
right?
pause for that because I have to ask, because Florida, right?
Yes.
So I seen something. Mr. DeSantis, I believe, or some in the government said no more chemtrails.
Yeah.
And since that, is this not y'all's like hurricane season, not to jinx you or anything like that? And someone said that, like, hey, notice since the government has toned it down, there hasn't been as much crazy wild weather. Is that
Yeah.
like
Well,
coincidence? Like, that's what I kind of say to people, like, you don't believe it's real, but there's laws preventing it. There's actually, if people want to go back, we think we might have talked about this, I'm not sure, but there's actually like in government documents that this is used for war. So weather modification is a
100%.
thing. And I get we don't want to understand that, but I think when people are disillusioned to not understand why are people so sick, it's like, to your point, it's all these different reasons. And if you go over to Europe, the food is different. They don't rely on fast food for 3 meals a day. They don't, or skip the dish a million times a day. There's not millions of preservatives going on. Like all these things are so important. But I just thought it was funny because I was like, oh, she is in Florida. And I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's years that you guys don't get really bad weather too, but I just thought it was kind of ironic that that rule got put in. And it sounds like you guys have had a pretty decent
Yeah.
quote unquote
Yeah.
hurricane season than normal. Is that fair?
That's 100%. So,
Cool.
A, I watch this stuff like a hawk. B, because I'm really aware of it about based on many reasons, right? Like
Well, safety for number one is fair.
safety. I actually detoxed nanotech out of my body about 3 years ago, and it put me on this very deep rabbit hole. And that's why I tell you, Brandy, I'm like, I have all this information in my head, and I don't always have the opportunity to share it with Grill Girl because that's very grilling and food focused. And my brand is actively changing to be much more health, animal based eating, lifestyle focused, which is really exciting to me. But where is the opportunity to talk about the nanotech I detoxed out of my body?
100% here. We've been talking
Right?
about nanotech for fucking since for 5 years now. So it's
Right.
perfect
And
place.
that's when I discovered they are putting that in the chemtrails too.
Mm-hmm.
But so since DeSantis put that rule in, we're still getting sprayed.
Okay.
But I will say it's less than it was. Like I do live near an airport. So I still see it. Like the other day I was on my way to the doctor and I'm trying not to wear sunglasses as much, but I put them on and I could see the haze of the clouds. Like, you know, when it's like the unnatural brown rainbow.
Yep.
So they're still doing it. So I will say maybe less. And I don't know if that's a coincidence, but to follow up on that, I 100% believe Hurricane Ian and the ones after that. And probably the ones before, I just didn't research them because I wasn't awake to this. But I know after living through Ian and also seeing the research around it, because I was researching these things at the time, was man-made.
100%. I don't know how anybody cannot see that. And they also have, I'm trying to think of Operation, I want to say it's Operation Cyclone, where they actually, have you heard that one where they actually go out in the ocean and they fuck around to recreate hurricanes and cyclones and all those things. So it's stuff that's being done. It was used in war. I don't know, y'all. Like as soon as government starts doing
like for anyone that wants to know, HARP and all that stuff is real. I believe the cell phone towers are involved somehow with the weather manipulation.
Yep.
Like if anyone follows Ariana Masters, I think it's her name, on Instagram and on Substack, she does a huge deep dive. This hurricane in Jamaica was completely man-made. And it's not a coincidence that the satellite images and all the access to the to be able to watch what was going on shut down for like 7 hours. Maybe it was more, and it went from like a 1 to like a 5 in those 7 hours, you know, so we couldn't document all the chemtrails they were spraying and whatever else it might be. But that's exactly what they did with Ian here, which was a Cat 4 or 5. And having lived in Florida since 2007, you know, a 5 is almost like, that's just a very unrealistic storm.
Yeah.
And when storms stay in the same place for like 24 hours without moving, that's unnatural. And so during Ian, I actually was following this guy, Matt, I think his last name's Eastman, and he'd actually done a documentary on chemtrails about like, I don't know, a while ago. And so his feed was always good. And he was and actually now his feed's been knocked off. Surprise. But I took screenshots, and I can even send this to you. Yeah. He took screenshots of the NextRad radar. Like this is like all the different ways you can see basically all the stuff they're doing. And you could see the chemtrails. Like these are not natural cloud patterns, right? Like they're in like certain lines, and you could see where they dropped like an EMF to keep the storm in place. And having lived through it, I felt it. You were like, okay, there was like a wave. It was like, during Ian, it got really intense, and then it died off, and then it started back again. That does not happen. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was all the tornadoes and all but the mass flooding that it caused was like maximum damage. It annihilated this area. Like it knocked our entire grid down. So I digress, but that was like, that's not normal. And I believe that Katrina was definitely messed with. Who knows how long they've been doing this? Like I'm just now waking up to it in the past 5 years or so. But
Jamaica, for people that don't believe it, Jamaica has a 2030 rebuild, right? So maybe it's not a smart city, which some of them are, like Lahaina is going to be destined to be a smart city, you know, like natural disasters happen. Yes. Like people get so freaked out, but I do believe that they take advantage and then they push them to be able to like, or just might be that so the government is just so lucky. Hey, when they want to develop somewhere, the people say no, and then a natural disaster just comes in and wipes it out, and then they get what they want.
Exactly.
Like I either like, come on now, guys. Like at what point, you know? And I get people don't want to believe it because that's terrifying for sure, right? Because you're just like, oh, so they're doing it means that they
Yeah.
could stop it, and they're not, and that's scary. But I think once you understand that people, the higher ups, and I don't even think it's necessarily one side, I think it's all of it. I think it's everybody. I think it's the richest people in the world make lots of money and they want to wipe out the middle class, and this is kind of how they're doing it. I know this is not necessarily, but chemtrails do go
Yep.
back to gut health because people don't realize too, like, because people could be eating the super healthiest and then all of a sudden they're like, why am I sick? It's like, well, the shit that your food is growing in has chemicals from not
Yeah.
only the pesticides and all the glyphosate that they put in the fucking food and farming and
Yeah.
stuff, but the shit that
Yeah.
drops from the sky. And there's
Mhm.
actually a documentary coming out on Amazon about this. I think I'll send it to you. It's
Yes.
like, I can control the food, I can control like vaccines, medicine, all that, but I cannot control what's happening. And just for everyone that wants to know, there's a documentary on YouTube called Dimming the Light.
Mhm.
That came out like 10 years ago. That was my first introduction into weather mods. And they're just saying how they want to dim the sun and they're doing all these chemtrails. And it's very hard to deny a lot of the research done in this documentary on YouTube. So those are really good ones. But going back to gut health, like these all things matter, right? So
Yeah,
people really
100%.
blame themselves, and you should be responsible for it. But we also need to be holding these motherfuckers accountable for doing these things without our consent. Like, I don't consent to having this shit in my food.
I know. It's just really terrible. I actually prayed against it today. I'm like,
Oh, good for
Lord,
you.
give... well, because
Please.
when I feel helpless about something, I'm like, I'm just gonna pray against it. Because usually when I pray about stuff, I feel like that's like I actually do see results,
Yes.
and it's like, what am I gonna do about these chemtrails? So I actually prayed against it. Like,
I love
I
that.
think if, like, if you can be specific. I don't know. I'm working on this prayer, but
Yes.
like
Anything helps. It doesn't hurt.
everything helps. Like, think about it. If not just me, but everybody started praying about it, like, and what does bother me is that I feel like there's a lot of people don't want to know what's going on
No.
because it causes cognitive dissonance. Like, it's upsetting to know that the people that run our world are at that level of evil. Like, they
100%.
they think of us like cockroaches. Let's be real. They're like, I would spray a cockroach, and that's what they're doing to us.
100%.
And
And
that's why when you think about what you're eating, and this is what I'll be putting in my cookbook, like, you can't be perfect, right? But you really have to do the best you can with being in like a survival state. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to eat to survive, and screw these fuckers who are trying to kill me.
a
you know?
100%. And it matters. And back to your very first point, a lot of people, and this is what I struggle with when it comes to pharmaceuticals with mental health. Because immediately you go into a doctor and you're like, I'm having anxiety. Cool. Who the fuck hasn't? Maybe I have ADHD. Okay, cool. TikTok brain rot. Not saying that, you know what I mean, but the
Yeah,
immediate
yeah.
thing when I went in and I was like, I'm experiencing anxiety. I was newly divorced. I had left all my friends. I had left the gym that I was working at. I was in a really rough spot. And being a addicted pharmaceutical person, I was addicted to Tylenol 3s, which fucked my gut,
Oh
by the
gosh.
way, right? Like for like 6 years, I was addicted to Tylenol 3. This is after I went in and I was like, I'm just not able to do this. But I didn't want to go on a pill because I'm an addict. So I didn't want to be like a Xanax. And then I just pop it all the time because Tylenol 3, it got rid of the pain, but it also numbed me the fuck out of my brain. So I didn't have to
Yeah.
think about anything. So I told my mom, like, I don't really want to go on anxiety medication because I don't want to like be dependent or like get addicted and overdo it. And she's like, well, anxiety medication is kind of different. And this is before when my mom wasn't awake and she was very pharmaceuticals. And she's had a
We've all
huge
been there. I
awakening.
used to feel
Oh,
like that.
100%. We just talked about this last night, actually. Me and my mom, or the other night, we always talk about it. And she holds so much guilt for vaccines and pharmaceuticals because she was very like just trying to help us. And at that
We didn't
time,
know.
we didn't
We
know.
didn't
And
know.
this
And
is
there
like,
wasn't much information out. Like, now I can scroll.
no.
My whole feed is curated to my alter ego conspiracy carry.
Yes, 100%. And two, with that, like at the time, this was in the early 2000s when my brothers were born. Mental health was just really becoming a huge conversation, and all these pharmaceuticals were coming out. So, of course, you're listening to your doctor. So, I was like, okay, sounds good. Like, I'll do it just to see. Worst decision I've ever made in my life. It made my stomach so, so sick. But what the thing that pissed me off, is that she didn't ask me about my life. She didn't ask me what I was eating, if I was drinking water, if I was moving my body, none of that. It was just immediate SSRI. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, this is what makes me mad. Sorry, that was a long way back to your first point there, is that your gut being your second brain, is that unless you are, and I'm not shaming anybody, but I know right now we just talked about how I'm feeling sick and I'm lowering my THC. So for people that don't know, cannabis actually triggers something called ghrelin in your stomach to have the hunger hormone, right? So cannabis
Right.
is what's helping me, and I can't eat right now. When we're not eating healthy, it's going to fuck with our heads. Why is it when we
Mhm.
go into our doctors or anything like that, I'll be at naturopaths talk to you about this. They're talking about what you're eating, right? So going back to like when this all started for you, you had obviously something medical happen to you.
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Like you went into the doctors and is like, let's go back to that. Like, do you feel the same way? You go in with like maybe a problem with like mental health or whatever or anything, and it's just like pharmaceuticals, but they don't talk to you about like, hey, what's going on in your gut?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So just piggyback on what you were saying.
Yes.
Side note, my light just died. So
See, I
hopefully
told you it's gonna happen. You look fine still, but I get
um,
this feeling.
so I was on antidepressants for 20 years,
Right.
and not once did any doctor ever ask me about what I was eating, anything, nothing. And now we know that so many things can lead to depression, nutrient mineral deficiencies, low thyroid. I mean, all kinds of things, right? But no, they just give you a pill. And the other thing I've discovered now that I'm like research everything is that serotonin is actually like manufactured in your stomach. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like there's so all this stuff going on. Like so, like yeah.
But we're
So
not told. We're not told. So I think most people, if they're like, hey, what you eat, not just saying that. And I think a lot of people get upset because they're like, oh, you're fat shaming me. Or no, it's not about any of that. It's not shaming, food shaming your body. It's like what you eating is literally not going to change your physical, but your mental too, you guys. And when I just hear
100%.
my friends and whoever talking to me, people in my DMs, and they're like, oh, I'm struggling. I always want to go back to, are you eating? Are you sleeping? Like, are you
Right?
doing the basics?
Are you taking care of yourself?
Are you taking care of yourself? And that never seems to be the answer. It's like, let's just take a medicine and
Right.
just mask any problem instead of getting to root cause. And this is why I love naturopaths so much, is that they care
Yeah.
about root causes, right? Because like, I don't know,
100.
what would your life have been? And I'm not saying this happened with your soul fracturing, but what would your life have been 20 years before that 20 years of depression medication? If they're like, Robyn, what are you eating? Because was it you that said you were a vegan or vegetarian before? No.
Well, I was
Did
in
you go on a
college.
restrictive?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
you
I
were
was in
okay.
college. Like
I got that right then.
that was a mistake, as we say. But yeah, but like you know what I mean? Like but I wasn't eating healthy then, and that's when I started having all the depression issues. But like you know, like no one asked that, and doctors don't even take any like nutrition. They don't take any classes on nutrition.
No,
Nothing.
no
So
pharmaceuticals though.
oh yeah, that's because Rockefeller medicine was created by the Rockefellers, so of course, right? So, so getting back to the gut health thing, so like I've had this going on for a while, and I was just kind of trying to treat it naturally, and then finally, my mother-in-law was like, "I want you to go to the doctor. I'm sick of you talking about your stomach being upset." And the whole reason and if you guys watch, I did a series on carnivore on my YouTube. That's probably what opened the door for me to write this cookbook, actually, which I actually don't believe in carnivore, and I red pilled myself really hard on some carnivore-esque theories. This,
Yeah.
not theories, like you guys. I continue to red pill myself. I was like, I can't wait to tell Brandy about this, and then God gives me these experiences to reiterate, like the learning experience. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
so that's why I was actually this morning. I'm like taking a shower, and I'm like, I'm so thankful the fact that life is never dull for me. Like I continue to learn, and I think you have to be in a place where you can be open minded enough to change your mind on things that you thought to be were true,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. You got to be
Um,
humble. The ego is just no place.
yeah, 100%. But the whole reason I did do the carnivore diet was because my stomach was so wrecked that basically all I could eat was meat.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that. And
Yeah.
so I decided to go to the doctor, and like I just have such a distrust for most doctors anyway, or like all allopathic doctors. But I wanted to get what I thought I had, and I was correct. Was I thought I had SIBO, which means small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And you can take tests online to test for SIBO,
Okay.
and believe it or not, I just discovered this book. And had I discovered this like a year ago, it would have been so helpful to me. But it's called Super Gut, and it's by Dr. William Davis. And he wrote Wheat Belly about I think 10 years ago. That may not, but either way, he's done his research. This isn't a very awake doctor, and he says 1 in 3 people have SIBO. It's just like an acute form of gut dysbiosis, which is not surprising because of what's in our diet, all the processed foods, all this stuff that just wrecks your gut, right? And with your gut being your second brain, it's really important to heal your gut. So
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, I called like every gastroenterologist in Southwest Florida and finally found one where they actually tested for SIBO, because most gastro doctors will not test for SIBO. In fact, a lot of them don't even recognize what it is. So there's that. Like they think it's
Love that.
like right, like it's
Pseudoscience.
Well, yeah, it ends up putting you in this kind of mode where then you have to heal yourself. Like you have to figure it out, which I'd been trying to do. But what I didn't realize in trying to sort of heal my gut was I had actually, I think, had been overdoing it on probiotics. So it's
Okay.
like if your gut bacteria is off, and so what SIBO is basically the bacteria that's supposed to live in your colon travels all the way up your digestive system. And so you can have good bacteria and the bad bacteria, but when you're ingesting things like glyphosate, even though I don't even eat a lot of wheat or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but it actually kills off the good and leaves the bad. So that's to my point why, like, that's what Dr. Davis documents in his book. Most people, to some degree, have some level of gut dysbiosis. And what's really interesting is like, my day job, because I'm like a Jamaican, I got like 5 jobs,
Yeah.
is in data analytics. And so I did a subreddit analysis of the carnivore community when I was doing research on my animal based cookbook, which is basically like animal based plus fruit and honey. And I actually think your body needs sugar, which is really the unpopular opinion.
It's
Like,
it,
it's because
it goes back and forth,
sugar.
right?
Everybody
Yeah.
hates on sugar. And I have led a strict low carb, no sugar for 10 years. And I can tell. And now I just discovered that my thyroid's wrecked. And this week, this is what I was saying. I keep red pilling myself. I listened to 2 podcasts where they basically showed that extreme low carb eating can wreck your thyroid. I'm like, what are the chances, right? Which also, your thyroid and your metabolism control your gut motility, which can lead to things like SIBO. So anyway, last year, I want to say like December, went to the gut doctor and I was like, I think I have SIBO. I want to get the SIBO test. And he's like, okay, we'll do that. And also you need a colonoscopy. Like he just wanted to before he even wanted to discuss me having SIBO and running some tests, he's like, let's get a scope in you. And I was just like,
Feels
it's not
extreme.
weird. Like, where do you make money, buddy? Is it
Yeah, no
like
doubt.
where is the money made on me as a patient? It must be putting me in surgery because he didn't
100%.
want to explore anything else. It was straight to surgery. Let's get a scope down you, and also you need a colonoscopy. So I was like, well, that's great, but first I want to like this is what my main issue is, and I want to like explore this first.
Yeah.
So I went, I had a SIBO test. I was happy that my insurance paid for it versus having to pay for it out of pocket because that's usually going to be like $300 to $400. But you can, I will like let you guys know, you can go to a functional doctor and they will order all kinds of like tests. And actually, there is now, I learned about it in the Super Gut book. There's actually a device you can order that you can take your breath test for methane or hydrogen based SIBO and figure out if you have SIBO and what your levels are.
Oh wow.
So you can actually, if you want to, probably circumvent even having the SIBO test with a doctor who's also going to probably try to get you to go into surgery. So
Yeah.
I digress. Like, just make sure you find the right doctor, a functional doctor. Like, but for me, I was like, I would prefer my insurance pay for this test versus paying out of pocket. So I found a gastroenterologist that did it. I took the test. Basically, you fast and then they give you a sugar solution and then you blow into this like balloon thing and then they take your readings and I had SIBO, which I was not surprised. That's what I thought I had,
It's a nice validation.
Yeah, but I
kind
had
of.
the validation. So because my husband's always like, you're not the doctor. Why don't you go to an actual doctor? And I'm like, okay, because I'm distrustful of allopathic doctors for many reasons.
Same.
But I was like, so I got the test done. And that is why I was eating carnivore because honestly, when your gut gets that wrecked, like I was at the point where I can't eat anything. I'm burping all the time. I can't poop, all the things, right?
Yeah.
Usually if you have SIBO, you have 2 things. You have either like diarrhea or constipation. But in order for my insurance to pay for my test, I had to say I had diarrhea, not constipation.
Oh my God.
It's so dumb. But there are like certain types of symptoms usually lead to different types of that bacterial overgrowth. Like I believe, if I remember correctly, like if you have more methane, constipation's more common versus like a hydrogen based. And so if you get the air, I think it's called the air device, you can take your own readings. I think it's like $200 or $300, which is going to be the same as a test, but you can actually all the time like track your levels to track your progress. Because I will say it's actually very hard to treat SIBO. I think you can treat it, but it's very easy for it to come back because your gut's still in the place where it got you to where it got to that overgrowth, right? And So this led me down this journey of being like, you know what? I feel like I'm in my crunchy moms circle. Like we call
Yeah.
ourselves, like the crunchy Karens, And so parasite cleansing is always a topic of
Mhm.
discussion. And so um here's a segue, but about 4 years ago, I want to say, I accidentally parasite cleansed.
Oh
Like
shit. Love when you do
literally,
that.
so like post COVID,
Mhm.
or maybe it was during COVID. When I look at the because I'm that girl, I have pictures of my poop. Like I literally can
I've
go
done that
in,
for time for
I
sure.
take photos. I'm like, well, that was interesting, and I document it. And if you're in my inner circle, and congratulations, Brandy, because now you are. I usually send these pictures to my friends, and I'll be like, look what happened today. But so the first time I accidentally parasite cleansed was um, post or during COVID. I learned about something called miracle mineral solution, which is called chlorine dioxide, and it's basically like an oxidizer for your body, and it was developed by these not event what's the name I'm looking for, missionaries who were
Okay.
using it to cure um now I'm having a brain fart. What's the common one that you get in like a lot of developing countries? It'll come to me. But anyway, they were
I'm not educated enough.
no, now I'm having a brain fart. But
It was
it was
curing
called,
something.
it starts with an H. It's just like maybe I need another couple. It'll come to me in like 45 minutes. But
Perfect.
anyway, he was using it to heal people, is the
Yep.
point,
Yep.
without drugs.
Yep.
And they actually tried to put him in jail, believe it or not. So I was like, there's probably something to this, and I ordered it. And I took some, and you're supposed to just like drink it in water, and it basically just cleans your body out. Like
Mm.
it's like a cleanser. And like me, sometimes like when I'm cooking, like maybe I'll add a little extra garlic. Well, that day I decided to add a little extra into my water,
Oh no.
and I gave myself a Herxheimer reaction,
Oh no.
which at the time I didn't even know what it was because I didn't know anything about parasite cleansing because I'm just taking this stuff to help me.
Hoping.
Like what I thought it was just
Yep.
like for health, and I got extreme cramping, and I just felt ill,
Yep.
like almost like when I eat dairy that's like not raw dairy, that like because like when you get like extreme bloating and cramping, and felt like shit for 3 days. But then I started pooping out all this weird stuff, and I was like, what the hell just happened? And then I realized like um
Whoops.
yeah, I was just kind of like, I don't
What's
even know
this?
what to think about that, but I think I pooped some worms out. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like I
Yep.
wasn't even like it wasn't this wasn't like right now parasite cleansing is people talk about it all the time. This
Yes.
was like 3 or 4 years ago at
Yep.
least. So
That
then I
wasn't a
was like,
big topic.
yeah, it was very like see what I mean? I just accidentally red pilled myself all the time.
Yes. And I always feel like sometimes you're a bit ahead, so then you feel like, am I crazy? Am I doing this? And then you see people talking out negatively about it, or oh, this is pseudoscience, or you people don't know. And then all of a sudden, dial it ahead 3 or 4 years. And this is the problem that I do want to talk about now: is too many people talking about parasite cleansing and too many people selling the
Yeah,
idea of it. That I
yeah.
struggle now because it's like a good thing is now getting ruined by sales and marketing schemes, right?
Yes,
And
and I
bad
want to.
people, right?
Yeah,
So that's but
yeah,
when you were doing it, and I'll say that as well because I was unvaccinated during the pandemic and I was watching a lot of these things and I heard about shedding and all that. So I was looking at like detoxes and like methylene blue and all these other things. I didn't take anything, but I was just like, or these pine needle things. And I'm always like, but I'm
yeah,
always nervous because you just hear stuff and then you're like, then you hear people getting sick when it's not regulated and stuff like that too. So there is
yeah,
that middle
yeah.
like distrust of not just allopathic, but as well as natural because bad people do get in the naturopath, like in the more natural
100%.
supplements too, right? And that's where I've kind of
Yes.
sat. That's why when you brought it up, I was like, I trust Robyn. I trust the research that she does. I trust that she goes deep when she does stuff. I believe that she doesn't just read headlines and she doesn't get caught up in marketing schemes,
Yeah.
especially with everything you've been through. That's why I was like, yes, let's talk about it because I want to hear it from you, from someone who doesn't profit off of it. That's not your platform to talk. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
people I struggle because it's like they were very opportunistic after the COVID and after the vaccine because a lot of people were coming out with all these things that you need to do to detox and all this stuff, which not saying it's not true, but I did hear a lot of people getting sick. Like there's this one supplement. Oh my God, I'm never going to remember it now. Now I'm having a brain fart. It's like some sort of rock that people are like breaking
Zeolite.
down. Yes.
I
I
really
so
wanted to rant about zeolite.
okay, so and I hopefully you're on the same page, but that was one of the things I had heard, and I'm just again a person that reacts to everything, so I just
Yeah.
pause.
No,
And
no, I want to go on a whole rant. I was like, I want to talk
good.
about this. So,
Good, because that's one of the things that was getting pushed very heavily. And then I found this other woman. She's originally Canadian, but she actually lives in Mexico. Her account is Nutrition Elements. This woman is unreal. I'm going to send you to her. I send you to her. I think you will fucking love her. But she's been calling it zeolites. And the biggest thing is because there's a lot of reps behind it. And people are
mhm,
getting very sick because it's depleting them of their minerals because it's like essentially a fucking rock. And that's what kind of scared me to then go into sort
yeah,
of parasite cleansing because
yeah.
it was so heavily pushed by people in the freedom community that I trusted at the time. And then and then I met her and she doesn't make any money. Like her Patreon is pay what you want. And she gives such unreal information. She was also like, you can use Pantene Pro V if you want to. And I was like, I love this woman because she's talking honestly, but also like I was like taking the native shampoo and I look like shit and I was like, I can't live. You know what I mean? So like it's good to be
Yeah.
crunchy, but there's also where the crunchy side can take advantage of very vulnerable people
Well,
looking for an
100%.
alternative,
Well,
right?
they're
So
making affiliate commissions on this stuff. So,
exactly. That's why I was like, this is why I'm totally okay to talk to you about this because I know this is strictly from your experience and your research and not
100.
like at the end you're going to be
Yeah.
like, and add Robyn 15 for 10% off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And even if you
Yeah. Yeah.
do,
Yeah. Yeah.
based off of
Yeah.
your research, but I know you would
Totally.
only back something because you've tried it, not because you need to make money off of it. So
Yeah,
that was
and
why
I
I was
had
like,
taken
yes,
zeolite in
please.
the past, and I will,
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
I wanted to talk about that because
Yes.
everyone's pushing it, and it's a big red flag, and I'll tell you why. So,
100%.
so to go back to it, I was like, you know what? I'm having all these issues. I'm also going to do a parasite cleanse. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and let me back up. The doctor prescribed me. It's called Xifaxan, which is basically a antibiotic for your gut, and a lot of times insurance won't pay for it, and it's like $1,000. And my insurance did pay for it, and I
Okay.
just want to show this so your readers know.
Yeah.
And I tried the Xifaxan, and then I tried the natural stuff, which was $60, and it worked better.
Of course it did.
So there you know. So I'll list out everything I took. But so and because I do want to go back on that for a second, but
Of
to
course.
get on the parasite cleanse, so I decided to do a parasite cleanse, and I kind of was just like researching my options. So I talked to my good friend Patty, and all my girls in my crunchy circle are like, oh, do the Cellcore parasite cleanse, which is basically Cellcore is like this supplement that a lot of my friends take, but it's expensive. So I call Patty, my chiropractor who prescribes it, and she's like, well, first you need to detox your pathways, or first you need to cleanse your detox pathways. And so here's the first round of supplements before you can do
A detox.
the parasite cleanse. So I spent like $300 on this stuff. I get them, and then I look and I'm like, Patty, I'm not happy with this. There's silica in it. You know me. Like
Yeah.
I'm
You're
gonna
looking at the
nitpick the hell
regains.
out of this because silica, if you look on my feed, and I don't think anybody cared about this because everyone follows me for grilling advice, but I did a whole thing on supplements. Silica is disruptive to your gut and is known to cause cancer, and they put it in all these supplements. So then I was like, Patty, I'm unhappy. In a rush, I bought these supplements from you, and they have silica in them, and yeah, they may have the bio blah 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 fulvic acid, all the stuff, but they're also full of
Bad stuff.
like these excipients that I'm not pleased with,
Yeah.
especially considering I just spent $300.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and because I'm that girl, I'm gonna call it out. And
100%. Be
so
real, babe.
I actually even emailed their rep, and I was like, there's silica, and there's also like, what's the vegetable cellulose you guys use in your capsules, because sometimes those are made from GMO soy. But all of these things, I've got gut issues, are also disruptive to the gut. So I was like, I'm willing to try it, but taking all these pills are making my stomach worse.
Hurt.
Like I'm
Yeah.
burping the pills up, and I'm just not going to go there. So that was like my first thing. Like, a lot of my friends had good experience with the Cellcore parasite cleanse, and yes, a lot of people talk about detoxing your pathways so that you actually, when you start pulling all this shit out of your body, you can actually get rid of it, because that is like a thing. Like, if you're not detoxing well and then you go kill a bunch of parasites, where's all that stuff going to go?
Yeah. It's same with
You don't
and the
want to recirculate
inner,
it.
right? Like it's like with your intestines too when you're eating food, right? Like or taking supplements, if your intestines aren't absorbing it based off of your body, your makeup, what you're eating, you're pissing out everything as well, which people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, I take a lot of vitamins." I'm like, "Cool, how's your absorption? How are
Exactly.
you taking them together?" Right? Like that's why I'm always like, if you can try and get it out of your food,
Yeah.
knowing that our food is so depleted of nutrients and minerals, obviously we need to supplement, but don't just look at like supplements at the dollar store. Are you fucking kidding me? Like
I know.
I get it, we all can't afford it, and I'm not trying to shame. Like, hey, we're in Canada, man. We were mid class. thanks to Mark Carney, we're going down to the poverty level here. But like, I
Well, that's
get it.
part of Agenda 2030 and Operation
Babe,
Lockstep.
we're the first one. Anyone in the Commonwealth, UK, Australia, and us. We are all under the fucking lizard queen. So
Yeah,
we're the first, we're
true.
the grounds of everything, right? Like we see in the UK, not to spare with UK's digital ID, Australia, they're also come down on a lot of stuff, and Canada now, like or immigrate, whatever, other topic. But yeah, it's all those things.
I'm with
That's
you,
all those things
sister.
are, yeah, all those things that are connected, right? And that's why I have such struggle with all of these things. And anyways, going back to this,
So,
um, I'm glad that
yeah,
you're honest because I don't think a lot of people are honest. And I think there's also cognitive dissonance when trying something. And there's that placebo effect. Like, yeah, I feel better because I'm doing something for me. And I'm not saying your friends
right.
had that, but I also feel like there's a little bit of that in there that you want it to work and you're not going to look deeper. So you're like, oh, I feel different. Therefore it works. Right. But it's people like
Yeah.
you that look into it deeper and go, wait, hold on. This can also be disruptive for my
Yeah.
body. So why, and maybe
Yeah.
they don't know that. Maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not going to like throw shade, but it's like
Yeah.
you have to be just as aggressive with all natural stuff as you are with pharmaceuticals.
Well, yeah, and a lot of those supplement companies are owned by like the same people. Like
Yep.
it's a for-profit business. You guys have to watch my reel I did on supplements, but like
Yes.
silica, magnesium stearate, the capsules they put them in are often made from GMO soy. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
nasty stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Magnesium stearate is what they use to grease the machines to put the supplements in the pills. Like it is not beneficial to you as a human.
Mm-mm.
And I
Yeah.
wouldn't even know about a lot of this stuff had I not detoxed nanotech out of my body. And then I started following this guy named, he's actually Canadian. He's a smart
Ah,
guy. But
we have a
he's
few.
a detox, he's the nano guy
Mm.
because he got Morgellons disease and he was also an herbalist and learned how to treat himself. But when I was listening to his podcast regularly, because I went down this deep rabbit hole because I pulled all this weird shit out of my body, like literally was like, what was that?
Is
Thank you,
that an
Lord, for
alien?
sending me on another rabbit hole to figure out what that was. But that's when he would go into things like excipients and silica and stuff like that. These are all things that straight like strengthen the nanotech in your body.
Of
So
course.
when you see all these truthers pushing zeolite, just know that the zeolite makes the nanotech in us, aka they're trying to turn us into internet of bodies. And it's not even surprising when you have someone like RFK Jr. talking about like biosurveillance from a health perspective. Give me a freaking break,
No,
okay?
thank you.
So that's why I know about this stuff because I researched it, is
Yeah.
my point. And
Yeah.
that's why you do have to like do the best you can, right? Like,
Yes.
can you be perfect? Like,
No.
yes, I took some stuff and it had silica in it when I was trying to get rid of mold toxicity
Mm-hmm.
because that was the only supplement I could find that had the other stuff I needed. So it is what it is. But
And
so,
you have to weigh it, right? Like I'm always about informed consent. I don't really care like what you decide to do as long as you're informed the best that you can.
mm-hmm,
And sometimes you can't. That's a part of our lives here. We can't come here programmed with everything, right? That's our journey is learning and sharing, but it's also our jobs to look into it deeper and not just take everything at surface value or face value, right? Especially if someone's making
sure.
money off of it. I get it. We all have to make our bag. Totally get it. But there is a line where people can cross that they don't even think because they're like, well, it's just my job. I'm just selling a product. And they believe so hardly. So I have problems with MLMs because it's such a cult
Yeah,
like mentality when it comes to their certain products. When it's like, sorry, like Avon, your protein is shit. Stop pushing it.
yeah,
Like it's literally
yeah,
filled with crap. So maybe I'd support you if your shit was actually better, but it's not. And then you guys all push it. And then you have this cult mentality around it. We've seen this very
100.
heavily during the pandemic with the vaccine. It's like, you're a grandma killer. And I'm just like, babe, I just maybe want to try and have a baby. And I was told not to take it if you cared about your fertility. That's the rabbit hole I fell down. And I thought, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'm not, there's no
Yeah,
reason why. I'll stay at home. I'll follow the rules then. I'll just hang out at home and stay away from people then if that's the case, right? Like if you're going to tell me to take this or just isolate myself, I'll isolate and wait. And holy fuck, just me as a person, especially with less THC right now with my anxiety, like I'm so glad that I listened to that intuition. But at that moment I was like, wow, there's a lot of smart people totally wrapped up in this and their cognitive dissonance is so heavy that they're not thinking straight. And maybe because I've been abused and hurt by a pharmaceutical, it was easy for me
yeah.
to hear safe and effective and being like, well, birth control fucked me up and y'all, everybody's on that. And trying to tell people that, especially 5 years ago,
Oh,
like me and
yeah.
you are in the same timeline. Like I was talking about, like, dude, I've been talking about chemtrails for the last 5 years. I've been on my show, like historically go back to like season 3 is when we started talking about like that was like the height of the pandemic where it's like we couldn't even go to the gym, we couldn't go to the restaurant, I couldn't fly in my own country, all because I didn't take an experimental mRNA vaccine. And all I said is, what is mRNA? And everyone's like, it's not the same as the regular one. And I was like, huh. And then I fell down the rabbit hole of the WHO and Bill Gates pretty much saying that we can eliminate people by vaccines and all those kind of things. And it was just like, but I understand people
Thank
not
God
wanting to go
it
down to that though.
saved you
Like
though.
it did. It
You could have turbo cancer right now, honestly.
100%. And we have like a lot of people that have messaged the show saying those things like, holy fuck, like I hated you guys during the pandemic for talking. And all I said was be informed. I didn't say take it or not. I just said be informed and let people make their own fucking choices for their own body. Unless you are going to pay for them to be off work, unless you're going to pay for them to be their medications that they need, don't force anybody to do anything.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Very simple.
There was no informed consent. They launched those drugs. They wouldn't even share the research for 100 years. How is that informed consent?
Because they didn't have it. Because we were the fucking test, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I tried to tell people. And like my
Exactly.
grandma, she was like, honestly, that just the way she was. She's like, if that is the case, I'm okay to die if I'm part of that research. That was kind of where her mentality was. Like, if God chose me as the person to take it to help with this, and I'm okay with that. And I was like, that's sweet, Nan. I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, I love you,
I've
but
got a lot
am
of
not.
life left to live, and I'd prefer not to be the government's experiment.
No, I really don't. And there's a lot of it that people don't understand, right? So that's where these conversations need to be happening. Because again, parasite cleansing was very taboo and crunchy as much back then.
Yeah.
But then people started seeing good results, and then bad people started taking advantage and then being like, you have to do all these things. You have to spend hundreds of dollars. And it's like, then people are like, they get overwhelmed. So you spent all this money on $300 on this stuff. Did it work at all? Like, sorry, I can't remember.
I didn't even, so that was to just clean my so here's what happened. I didn't end up taking that stuff. I was like, I can't, no. So then one day, I had bought a tube of ivermectin during COVID from Tractor Supply.
Nice.
So one day I just decided, I'm seeing all this stuff online, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And so I drove myself to Tractor Supply, which is like our farm store here in the US. And I went to the horse dewormer section.
Yep.
Oh, and also so I didn't just do this blindly. I actually found Dr. Lee Merritt's parasite cleansing protocol. And she was basically like, you can try to buy these drugs, these deworming drugs, like, fenbendazole and ivermectin overseas, which I actually had done during COVID. I spent over $300 buying oral ivermectin from India.
Wow, that's awesome.
Crazy. And then a couple years later, I went to India and bought the same ivermectin for $4 at a pharmacy.
Wow, that's
crazy. Mark it up.
Yeah,
isn't that nuts?
That is
so I ended up, Dr. Lee Merritt, she's a medical rebel on, like, that's online. You'll probably see her in a lot of stuff. And she's like an ex-military doctor, surgeon. But she's like a doctor truther, and so her parasite protocol was like, you can order these, because doctors here in the US, I would assume Canada is the same, but they don't believe that we can have parasites.
I'm sure.
So you can't get a script to parasites because they think we're in a first world country, you don't have parasites, which is absolutely incorrect. Like, they will say, if you have, like everyone says, if you have animals, you have parasites. And girl, you see me on my story last night. I'm like in bed with my dog. She's like next to my pillow.
I have 3 cats for sure.
Yeah. And this morning, my husband sent me this video just to back this up because I already knew this was true. We have chickens. We had like 25 chickens and we had 5 ducks. And my husband went to adopt some new chickens, and he's at his parents' bougie condo in Naples, which is so funny because they had this rooster that was started crowing at like 5:30 in the morning in their condo. And anyway, side story. But so he's got this chicken with him. So they're up close and personal with his chicken. He sends me this video this morning. There is literally, the poop is moving in the chicken poop. Like, you can see the worm. So my point is, if you have pets, you have parasites.
Mm-hmm.
If you eat sushi, you have parasites. If you ever eat farm-raised salmon, who hasn't, you most likely have parasites. If you eat pork, I am on a pork whole hog competition barbecue team.
I'm like, try and take bacon out of my hands. Try it.
I refuse to get my bacon. I don't eat pork except bacon because it's delicious.
Yeah, it is.
So, but my point is, everyone has parasites. So, so I had been reading Dr. Lee Merritt's Parasite Protocol, where she's like, you can try to get these meds, like the traditional deworming meds, on an on overseas pharmacy, and it'll cost you like $100, or you can drive yourself to Tractor Supply and buy the same stuff that's for animals, like the human version of fenbendazole, I think is called menbendazole, but the one
Okay.
that that the ones for, like, dogs and cats and horses is fenbendazole. So in
Okay.
my mind, I just talk about fenbendazole because I use horse dewormer. So that's
Yeah.
literally what I did.
Yep.
I drove myself to Tractor Supply and bought myself a tube,
Yep.
and I followed her protocol. And and I did a video about this. It's on Rumble. If
Of
anybody
course.
wants it, we can put it in the show notes, because I
Totally.
put this video actually in my carnivore series, because in my carnivore series I talked about trying to heal my gut, which is why I did carnivore, but I also talked about doing parasite cleansing. And YouTube did not like it when I discussed that people were saying that they were healing themselves of cancer by taking fenbendazole. Like, you could literally do a Google search, at least at the time. They've probably
Suppress
taken
it
it
now.
down now.
Yeah.
Like, people were like, fenbendazole cancer, and it is not hard to find accounts of people saying, I had stage 4 cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and they said I had like 3 months left to live, and I decided to throw, just say, fuck it, I'm going to try this dewormer and see if it works, and it goes away. So, like, I'm not making this up. This is like out there. You can find it. I'm not giving medical information. I'm just sharing
Mm-hmm.
but YouTube took that video down, and because the C
You
word
can't say, yeah, you
is
can't.
$1 billion industry. Like,
Yeah.
people don't realize there have been cures for cancer for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
They get rid of those people.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Like
Wasn't there
Royal
just one
Rife.
recently too? Like a plane just went down recently. I think it had some cancer researchers on it. I can't remember. Within
Yeah.
the last couple of months that it happened. And it always seems to happen this way.
No,
And I
I
think
know.
at the end of the day, the thing that pisses me off about that suppression is that no one is claiming that this is the end all be all answer to everybody's cancer or everyone's problems, right? All we're saying is that people had these experiences and this is what they did so that other people know what other experiences so that you can make an informed, because if a doctor's telling you there's no way and there's nobody that's healed by this, but then people's experiences are that, then that's not exactly informed consent, right? And there's some people like my girlfriend Torva, like she had to go and get pharmaceuticals. She was stage 4 ovarian cancer on her deathbed, right? So I
Mhm.
think what happens that people hear that and they think, well, how could you tell that? No, everyone gets to decide their choice in their certain situation, right? So it's like the minute you're offered these heavy, heavy Western meds that are going to have a quality of life being worse, we know that.
Yeah,
I don't understand why it's so controversial that people would want to try all their alternatives. And if it doesn't work out, why are we shaming them about it?
I know.
That
It's
that's what like you're okay. So just specifically speaking about British Columbia, Canada, we literally have something called Safe Supply. I don't know if you know this. We give pretty much oxys to people that come in, safe supply. So we give them these drugs that are safe supply. They go around, they call them dillies. They turn around and they sell them to people on the streets and they buy harsher drugs. We also have
wow.
vending machines outside of hospitals that have crack pipes, needles, anything that you need, any drug paraphernalia so that you can do better when you're doing drugs so it's safer.
Wow.
So we're as a province, and they're walking this back now. I've talked about this several times because it's not working. Our drug crisis is a million times worse. They're okay with that, but they're not okay with people taking natural health products, as we see in the raid in Kelowna this last week of all the ivermectin. Which try to take my fucking ivermectin out of my hands. Just try it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
understand maybe
shame, you come
her.
from Florida, girl.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I got connections everywhere, bitches, like across the universe here.
Hmm.
But like it just blows my mind that then those things that are actually like ivermectin is a Nobel Prize, like and I just love how the media at that time spun it, especially with Joe Rogan, like he's taking horse dewormers, and it's like
Hmm.
it's a motherfucking Nobel Prize medicine that has been used through for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
are you telling me that there's no other medication in the world that we use for animals and human beings? Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about here? Like the cognitive dissonance and the ego to tell someone who is going through cancer or anything like that what they should and shouldn't do. I'm not going to be that person. You know what I mean? Like if they want to take natural products, take them. You want to take pharmaceuticals, take them. Like it, and
Yeah.
that's what I don't understand. The censorship is all we're saying, and I don't need to worry about this on Spotify and Apple. I'll probably have to edit it if it goes on YouTube when it goes on YouTube during my break. We should be allowed to say this was someone's experience and they were
Yeah.
saying that it cured their cancer or they whatever without being penalized. We're not saying you go do it. And this is the only thing and this is the only thing that'll cure cancer. People are always just alluding to other people's experiences and that
Yeah.
immediately means that you're saying that this is the only cure and you need to be banned. And that just
Well, it tells you all you need to know about YouTube, right? And it tells you about the cancer industry
yep.
because that's all I was saying. I wasn't
Yes.
giving medical advice.
No.
In fact, the video was about carnivore eating. But
That's what I'm saying.
but that is like you cannot. That is an industry. They will take you down. So I digress. So I drove to Tractor Supply. I got a tube and I literally dosed myself, just like she said. And all we can even link to her protocol,
Yes.
if you want. It's Dr. Lee Merritt. It's like Parasite Cleanse protocol. That's what it is, and that's what I did. And she basically talked about what she did, and I was like, I'm going to do this because I can't see this hurting. I think this can only help my gut. My doctor would never. I brought it up to him. He was like, no, you know what I mean. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to do it. I did a full tube of literally like, and I have pictures, and I also did a little bit of ivermectin too. And I noticed that I got rid of a few brown worms, but nothing crazy. But after I did one tube, which was equivalent to like treat a horse like once or whatever. So for me, I did it for like a month. And I will say, for anyone that decides they want to start parasite cleansing, you can't just do a little bit. You got to go all in because once you start killing those parasites, they lay all these eggs. So you can't be like, I'm just gonna, I don't like the taste, I'm gonna stop. Because like, no, now you just made it worse. So you gotta go all in. Like, yeah. And so a lot of people say, like, you can't always time it, but like I noticed I had a big expulsion of parasites right around the full moon because that's when they're most active. Like the day I expelled, literally the toilet was full of liver flukes. I realized that night before it had been a full moon, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense, right? Yeah. But it took me, I did 2 full tubes of the fenbendazole, literally the horse dewormer. It was $18.99 plus tax versus $100 over online. There are some supplements that are putting the fenbendazole in, and they're like $100 too. So I was just like, I want to save. I'd like to save $80. Like the taste 100%. Is kind of like yuck, you know. It's like a paste. I would like literally dose myself and chase it with water. So that's what I did. Now, and so did I take a binder? No, I was just being balls to the wall. Should I have taken a binder? Yes, probably. Fair. What do I recommend? Activated charcoal. I don't recommend anything else. I think this is what you need. Like this is the only thing I really trust based on my knowledge of nanotech. Because a lot of that other stuff, like some people will say, oh, take bentonite clay. No, that's got like silica in it. Zeolite, no. The nanotech, look up what zeolite is. It's actually a heavy metal itself. It's an aluminum cage. Yes. Do you want more heavy metals in your body? No. Like,
and that's what she was trying to say too. It's just like, I don't understand. Like people that have been on zeolite for a long time have had very bad reactions when it comes to like losing, like their hair will turn gray because you're really just, it's going to deplete a lot of the minerals in your body. And it's just, but people again are just like, oh, I swear by it. I'm giving it to my kids. And I'm just like,
I know I have lots of friends. I literally have sent friends. I'm like, I got like the studies of zeolite from Tony Pantalleresco, who's like, he's like the mad scientist, right? And I'm like, I sent it to my girlfriend from church. I'm like, I know you've said you've had success for your kids, but I just want you to know, here's what's in this, you know? So I did that tube and then I dosed my husband. And what was interesting is I got rid of a lot of parasites. And then while I was treating my SIBO, I started taking candibactin. And so basically, which is basically oregano oil and thyme oil. And this was way more effective at treating the SIBO. But the reason I wanted to mention this was what I also noticed was I also took another herb because I had gone to this other like blood microscopist where she looked at my blood under a microscope and also said that I had candida. And I wanted to mention that in Dr. William Davis's book, he mentioned most people who have SIBO have SIFO, which means small intestinal fungal overgrowth as well. And what he recommended for that is to take curcumin, the non-absorbable kind, so it stays in your gut. So FYI. Yeah, so I've been doing that too. So, but I hadn't read his book yet, so I didn't know about curcumin. So I was taking another herb called Palo de Arco. Okay. And I took candibactin, which essentially is oregano oil, in conjunction with Palo d'Arco. And I wasn't trying to actively parasite cleanse at the time. And let me tell you, girl, this is when I discovered biofilms.
Okay.
So this is another layer of parasite cleansing. So if I did it over again, I would do this first and then like start the parasite cleanse, right? So like I would start with something to break down the biofilms and then do the parasite cleansing. But I will say the fenbendazole was really effective. Like the amount of worms I got out of my body was actually really like, holy shit. Like I got rid of so many, like all kinds of different things, roundworms. And the other thing is too, is like people might be like, I didn't get rid of anything. Like my husband's like, I don't see anything. And by the way, I think his metabolism is so high. I actually think he might be hyperthyroid because he has like he gets low blood sugar a lot. Like I don't think they can survive in his environment, but
no, that's what I kind of wonder about myself.
Yeah, it's just like in and out, like
yeah.
he can.
There's no time. There's no time for nothing to sit in there.
In the morning to go hunting, and he'll poop on the way to his hunting spot, and I'm like, how does that even work? Like my body's like, nope, you're off your schedule today. It's not going to happen.
I'm like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. Every morning I get up at 4:30 in the morning. Like it's like clockwork, and if I don't, I'm like, what did I eat? Like right now is not good, but like when I'm in normal health, like every day, first thing in the morning. And I have people in my family that's like, I poop once a week. I'm like,
which is not good. And I think that makes you have a good metabolism. Like that's a good thing to poop regularly. So, So, but my point is, you could be cleansing and pooping stuff out and not know it because it could be microscopic, right? Like you're not. Now, I am that crazy person. I would literally take a bamboo skewer that we'd use to make skewers, like on the grill, and I would leave it by the toilet in the trash can. And I would pick through my poop. And that's how a lot of times I would know. But I will say, if you poop out a parasite, I think you will know because what happens is they float to the top of the toilet. And at least from my experience, you will have like you'll feel something and it's almost like, that's like not a normal poop, right? Like, especially if you've pooped out a lot of stuff and you're empty and then all of a sudden you have like a release.
Yeah. You're like, what?
Like that's like, anyway. I digress, but like while I was on fenbendazole, liver flukes, tapeworms, I got a tapeworm. I didn't take a photo of it, but probably like at least 6 inches, like the segments of it.
That's crazy.
You can go on Google reverse image search and figure out exactly what you pooped out if you're like me and you want to know, right? Yeah. So the fenbendazole, to just kind of summarize that, was highly effective. However, there is the caveat that it is still like fenbendazole, those drugs are still made by Merck and Novartis. So if you're distrustful of big pharma, like I am, I will say they were really effective. I think they work faster than the herbal stuff, but with the caveat that they're still made by those people. And I actually trust the animal versions more than I trust the human versions. Yeah. Like I have gone in and looked at the ingredients of the actual horse dewormer version I took and didn't see anything that was
concerning.
Like it had some stuff in it that would make it white and make it like, to keep the texture, like, so there's some like sketchy ingredients, but nothing that I like enough to not take it. Yeah. But there's always going to be stuff they may not tell you about because it's Merck and Novartis. So I'm just sharing that with you. Yes, it was effective. But what I'm doing now, I'm doing herbal stuff. So just FYI. Yep. But what I wanted to share was if you combine it with, like, I think what you really like to really be effective, you first need to go in with something that's going to break up biofilms. So what are biofilms? So basically what happens is the parasites are attracted to heavy metals and like chemicals. And what do we get in our daily like soup of air and what's in our food? Chemicals, right? So that's another reason I'm like, everyone has parasites. In fact, I've seen all this research that they're putting it in all the shots. Like the kids' vaccine shots. Like I saw this woman, her name was Robyn something, and I can send this to you. And they took vials of different various vaccines and they tested them, and like 9 out of 10 had parasites in them. So it's almost
inevitable to find, like you're going to have it somewhere, especially if you're born after 86. Because that's when like the schedule went nuts for vaccines, right?
It's crazy. And the other thing I'll share is that I don't like about a year ago, last fall, which how coincidental falls when everybody starts getting the flu and they get sick. there was this like weird fog that happened,
Was it? I don't
and
remember that.
I was like, this is so weird. And so I'm in Fort Myers. We're about 40 minutes from Naples,
Okay.
and which is southwest of us. And I remember someone, they did a video about it. They took the fog and they took it to a lab to be tested. And you know what they found? A type of parasite that causes lung infections that leads to pneumonia.
Wow.
What are the odds? So my point
So
is, I really think they're spraying
crazy.
us with stuff that causes parasites. And I
Mhm.
do believe, based on my research, that parasites are a root cause to cancer. In
Mhm.
fact, that is what Huda Clark says in her book, The Cure to All Diseases.
That's a cool book.
And what she basically says in here is that, like, what the gateway for parasites are is chemical solvents, things that are
Mm.
in like your cleaning supplies, your
Laundry soaps.
shampoo,
Yeah.
um, heavy metals, right? Wood alcohols, like literally, she's like, get rid of that and you'll get rid of the parasites. She also says that the parasites specifically come from outside and your animals bring them in,
Mm.
proving the point. Like, if you have animals, you have parasites. Like, there is no
Oh,
way around it.
guaranteed. Guaranteed. I remember someone told me before parasite cleansing like 5 years ago. He's a doctor I've actually had on the show, and he was like, he did talk about that, like, oh, if you have animals, you have parasites, they're gonna make you sick. And I was like, go fuck yourself. I'm not getting rid of my animals. Like, there's
No.
no fucking way I'm getting rid of my animals. But just having the understanding that you can like clean it out, right? It's not like we're saying don't have animals. It's just being aware that you can get these things because of the animals.
And we all have parasites, right? Like
Yeah.
when I go to see Dr. Darren, my naturopath, he's like, parasites aren't necessarily a bad thing. Like, we
No.
all live with stuff in our body and it's part of like your microbiome and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, that's all fine and good, Dr. Darren. But did I tell you how large this tapeworm was that I expelled? So, so yes, there's balance,
Yeah.
but so I do think because of the amount of toxins we're exposed to, like ongoing detoxing and cleansing is really important. And so back to the biofilms. So, um, when I took a combo of cantibactin, which is essentially oregano oil, and thyme oil, which even Dr. Davis talks about, you can actively treat yourself for SIBO and SIFO by taking like oregano oil, like mixed with like coconut oil, right? So you have to
Okay.
be careful with what you do. Like, don't go rogue and just ingest oregano oil, essential oil. That would be really bad.
Just don't inject. That's one thing I'm terrified. It's like people can say what they want about essential oils, but please don't ingest it. I just don't. I don't think.
It's
I
bad.
don't know.
It's really
I
bad.
just feel like it just don't. Like there's
And
already
it's,
like you're not even
yeah,
supposed to put them with your animals. Like for people that don't know, like I understand essential oils are the best, but it needs to be extremely diluted for your
yeah,
animals as well. Like it's not good. Like what I have is extremely diluted and coconut oil and beeswax. That's the only kind
yeah.
of like scent candles that we have in our home because it's like it does really affect. So it just blows my mind. Whereas people are like just put some essential oils like oregano essential oils in your pasta. I was like, maybe don't, maybe
Yeah,
don't.
no, you have to
Maybe
be careful.
find a medication, like a proper medication for it.
100%. And I'll go back to Huda Clark's book.
Mhm.
I think she was like kind of like the guru of parasite cleansing, and I really do think, based on her research, like parasites are a root cause thing. Like,
Mhm.
like they, in my mind, there is a correlation between parasites and cancer. In
Yeah.
fact, there's these German doctors, and I'm really highly surprised. Probably just YouTube hasn't found it. Recorded, they actually like dissected what they thought was like a tumor. And
Mm.
when you open it up, you can see it's a parasite egg sac.
Ew.
And that's what I think a lot of people are these days, and a lot of doctors are saying, like doctors in the know are saying, parasite egg sacs look like tumors when they're doing,
Okay. When you're
when
doing
they,
like their
when you go
scans or
on your
whatever.
like you know what I mean. And I think
Yep.
that's why people online are like, I took fenbendazole and my stage 4 cancer went away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But doctors make so much money. They make commission on chemo. People don't
Oh
realize
God. Yeah. Oh
they would
hell yeah.
never be incentivized to be like, oh, it could, let's just put you on a parasite cleanse and see if it helps. Because they're just, laughing all the way to the bank at the expense of these chemo treatments. That also, by the way, chemo was developed as mustard gas in World War II, and they figured out a way to repurpose it,
It's
right?
like
Like,
Botox.
yeah, it's crazy. They're poisoning us, and then
Yes.
they make money on us while they put. It's so crazy, and I actually have a story about that. And now I got off topic. Like, I'm like, let me talk
No,
about
that's
biofilms,
fine.
but now let
That's
me
what it's
talk.
supposed to
I
be.
do want to go back to biofilms, and I
Yeah.
think when we wrap this up, I'll just share my recommendations, at least what's worked for me.
Yes.
Just to give people ideas. But so the last episode we were on, I don't know if my dog had just died
No,
or
it was like literally a week after, because I think it was just like the week after, because I was about to message you about the show, and I messaged you, and then I went on your story and was like, oh my god,
yeah,
it was a week after we had recorded. Yeah.
yeah. So I swear to you, Brandy, I'm like, Lord, what is it you're trying to tell me? Like, are you wanting me to turn into a parasite expert now? Do I need to start like parasitegirl.com? Like, what is the deal here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I
What
always
is the
feel like I get
message
these
here?
like all these life things that like
Yeah.
take me down this path, and I'm, like the detoxing of the nano, the accidentally like,
Parasite cleansing.
parasite cleansing that just randomly, with the SIBO, like, and which in the larger scheme of things, I think will help me help more people in my cookbook, because even when I did the research on the carnivore diet, most of those people said they did that like I did because they were
Mhm.
trying to heal their gut. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Yeah. I think Michaela Peterson is probably one of the biggest advocates for carnivore diet, and watching her, Jordan Peterson and Michaela Peterson at
that
all?
name sounds familiar.
Yeah, they're both Canadian. They moved down to the States. Jordan actually lost his license with the college here because he refused to accept trans ideology, essentially, and just says there's two genders. He actually got his psychologist degree removed and his right to practice psychology in Canada because he refused to bend the knee and say all of these things, because he's been calling out like quote unquote woke ideology for the last decade, especially what's happening here in Canada. He's been very critical, but he was very sick and his daughter was very sick, and they could not figure out anything, and she went on carnivore and it like reversed her entire, but now she's still like kind of sick. So I think that's what happens
Yeah,
is like it does a lot of reverse, because I'm not trying to be that way. It is a big elimination diet too, right? So
it
is
is an
it just the
elimination diet.
meat, or is it you eliminating? And this is one thing I will say about a lot of diets too, or a lot of supplements that people have. When you start working out or start taking care of your health, naturally when you start eliminating stuff, you're probably going to feel better. That doesn't necessarily mean that the actions that you're doing, like keto or carnivore, is the actual thing. It's probably eliminating something bad in your diet that you were having
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
before. And I'm
mm-hmm.
not saying that because everyone's different. I know a lot of people, but a lot of people after a while in carnivore still don't feel 100% better or start feeling something else. So it's like, okay, maybe to your point, maybe we do need to add in some of the sugars and stuff like that. And I think too, going back to that, and yes, we'll go back to biofuels too, is that I wanted to say when you said about the sugar, I think a lot of people get that confused because they think, oh, like, yeah, there's bad sugar and there's good sugar. There's sugar that happens naturally in the world, like with fruits and all those kind of things. And then there's refined sugar that you find in soda pops and chocolate bars and chips. So when you say, like, yeah, sugar is bad, processed sugar, natural
Yeah,
sugar, I think we're fine. And no one's going to pull fruit out of my hands. No one is ever going to take blueberries or strawberries away from me. I will
yeah,
fucking riot. But like, you get so many minerals and vitamins out of fruit. And then when you just go to things like that, you eliminate all of that. I think that causes issues, which you were talking about too, which is, anyways,
100%.
we'll get to that. So it's just, yeah, it's super
Yeah,
interesting. But I think people take everything at so absolutes that they can't look at the nuance. It's like, yeah, sugar is bad if you're going to eat fast food and chocolate all day,
yeah,
but
yeah,
you're
yeah,
going
yeah.
to eat fruit every single day. I don't think that that's bad for you. Just my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Well, I think what happens is people do go on carnivore diet and they eliminate a lot of things like grain, which is
Hmm.
hugely disruptive to the gut.
Hmm.
Not to mention the grain here
Especially
in the
here.
US.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's GMO grain.
Yeah. It's
So
not real.
it's been genetically modified. So it's not what Jesus was eating in his
Mm-mm.
time.
Mm-mm.
So it's more disruptive because it has more gluten. But the other part of that is that the grain that we have is also sprayed with glyphosate, which kills your good gut bacteria, but is also known to cause cancer. So you're
Yep.
eliminating that. And some plants have defense chemicals, and a lot of people don't respond well to that. But I
Mhm.
think a lot of it is just the lifestyle change of people cutting a lot of shit out.
Yeah. Yeah. And being
But also,
focused on it and intentionality, right? Like, people don't
yeah,
understand like the power of what you're doing and your mind, and that does change your chemical makeup in a sense too, right? So that's what I mean. It's like, don't get discouraged if you go on the carnivore diet and all of a sudden it doesn't work. It's like, okay, well, we'll maybe start adding some things back into your diet and see
yeah,
what goes off there, right? And then it's like,
yeah,
oh, like to your point, Europe, I eat pasta in Europe, went to Italy, phenomenal. No
yeah.
gut issues, right? Nothing. Come back here,
The OG wheat, and they're not
exactly. It's
spraying it
real. It's
because they
real
actually protect their citizens.
in some ways in
I was
their
about to
food.
say, it's so funny. You and I are twins because I was about to be like, with the food, but then they'll make you, participate in all this other stuff.
Digital
Like,
IDs. Yeah. So
we're
it's
still like
like,
a socialist country, so there's that. Yeah, I know. When I went to Italy, I was like, I could live here. No, I couldn't
no,
because your food's great, but when I
everything
went to this
else.
biodynamic farm, this lady was telling me how she had to register all her goats with the government, and I was like, yeah, fuck that.
Exactly, right? So it's like, oh.
So back to your carnivore thing. So this
Yeah.
is what I red pilled myself with pretty heavily this week. And I found this out. I learned this kind of the hard way. Like when my first cookbook was keto paleo. Paleo, you don't really have to strict carb cutout, but like you can still have some carbs. Keto, the goal is to put yourself into ketosis, right? Which is what carnivore does. But what I think a lot of people fail to realize is that when you force yourself into ketosis, that's forcing your body to start releasing stress hormones, aka cortisol, because your body prefers to run on sugar. Like your brain needs sugar, so since it's not getting sugar, then what's the process? It's called gluconeogenesis. So then it has to figure out how to make sugar from something else, which could be protein you're eating or your muscles,
Their
which is
muscles,
not
for sure.
healthy, right?
No.
So, and I just like I've been suffering from adrenal fatigue for years. I think most women are under most people are under so much stress anyway. Like putting yourself in a way of eating that starts releasing stress hormones, I think is not ideal. But the other thing, and so I listened to two very like geeked out podcasts this week. One was Ray Peat. Ray Peat was like a PhD level biologist. He really extensively studied thyroid health, and he's like the godfather of metabolic health. Like the people that follow him are like hardcore, but they're really smart, and they're called Peters. But it's like the pro sugar, like basically saying like in order to increase your metabolism, like you can't starve yourself of sugar. Like that's what your body wants, but it's all about like kind of like balance, right? But what happens is so he shared how this one thyroid doctor tested when they only ate meat, they had to increase their thyroid hormones so much that it was like it was really hard to keep that up. So my point is there's this correlation between ketosis, putting yourself and releasing stress hormones, only eating meat being really hard on your thyroid, aka what regulates your metabolism. And then the other thing that people don't always take into account is if you're only eating lean cuts of meat, the amino acid profile in that is actually very inflammatory to the body. Specifically, I think it's called cysteine and tryptophan and methionine. I'm not know if I'm pronouncing that right, but meaning like your body needs the collagenous cuts, like the stuff with the collagen and the tendons and blah blah blah. So if you're only eating lean cuts and not supplementing with collagen, you're actually doing a lot more damage to your body.
So interesting.
So these are all things I learned, like kind of heavily learned this week in the podcast that I listened to, while discovering that my thyroid had tanked when I went to the doctor, which was causing a ton of anxiety. And I'm like, Lord, are you trying to give me like a big life lesson here so I can share this in my cookbook or just have like a big aha moment, or what's going on? You know what I mean? Because I've been eating low carb for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like literally lean cuts and vegetables is like my go-to.
So you're like, is this it?
So that's my so my point, you know, like, yes, it's the unpopular opinion that you need sugar, but literally your body needs some sugar, and like it's like you need balance. So I'll be sharing all of this in my cookbook. So
good.
But back to the biofilm. So if you want to parasite cleanse, start with the oregano oil, something that can break the biofilms up too, because when I started doing that, I noticed, and this is after I'd already expelled a bunch of parasites, I had like, and I knew this, like I knew my body was empty. There was nothing to come out. I expelled what can only be known as biofilms. It was really like films. Like they looked really weird, but that's in the toilet. That's what they were. And then 2 days after that, I expelled a worm about this long, and it was wrapped in like film. I have photos of it we can share with people.
Yes, I'll share it.
That's when I was like, okay, there's more to it than just taking something. Like you got to break down, because what these parasites do is they're attracted to the heavy metals and the chemicals, but then they form this film that they protect themselves in. So that's how they can shield themselves from things like your stomach acid and all that other stuff, right? Like, so that's how they're able to survive. So by first breaking the biofilms down, you're going to have a more effective parasite cleanse, is my point. So if if I was just going to tell someone to go do a parasite cleanse today, because I am distrustful of companies like Merck and Novartis that actually make the parasite like the dewormers, they're, you know, yes, they were effective, like highly effective, but just my spidey senses are like, I don't know.
Ugh.
I would go with the natural stuff. Like Huda Clark has her own store on Amazon. It's
Oh,
got all the things that kill worms, like
yep.
wormwood. There's like various types of wormwood. It's like black. What is it? The black walnut hulls, wormwoods, um, cloves, and all the things, right? And so, what I've been doing personally for myself is the combination of the stuff that kills the biofilms. But I've been taking this. I actually get on Amazon. It's called BioRay, and it's all like natural, right? And it comes with like micronized chlorella, so it has a level of binders built into like for me. And I actually had to negotiate with my son to do this because he wouldn't do it because he's like, you know how kids are. So I
Of
was like, I'll
course.
pay you $100 if you take this for a month, you know.
I love it.
But I mean, I literally give myself 4 doses, and usually, like, I'm kind of in maintenance mode because I've done so much parasite cleansing. But there's other ones out there, right? Like, if you look at Kim Rogers, she's the big, like, she calls herself the worm queen. Yeah, it's called Kim Rogers, and her whole feed's all about
Love it.
parasite cleansing. And she
Yep.
has a good kit. I think it's like $100.
Awesome.
It's all natural. It comes with the binders. There's stuff online like even the Guru Nanda, which is even a brand you can find at Walmart, but it's like natural. They have like one that's like pretty affordable
Yep.
and natural. So there's that. The other thing that I think is kind of interesting to mention is flower essences. Now, this I actually learned about when I was trying to work on my soul fragment, but flower essences actually do healing through energy, like or
Oh,
frequency, I should
yep.
say. So, um, flowers can develop certain frequencies based on what they go through, and so they have a parasite cleansing version. So you actually just put this in water. This isn't like a tincture, but it's the energetic frequency that helps. And I know that sounds woo woo, but for a while I was squirting this into my son's water and he didn't know. And then he told me one day he pooped out a big worm at school. So I knew it was working. So there's that.
Probably a little
Um,
scary for him at first. He's like, what the fuck?
I mean, my family thinks I'm so annoying because like I'm fascinated and talk about parasite cleansing all the time, but I think they're finally coming around to me because like I said, my husband sent me a picture of that chicken poop that's literally moving. So like, you know what I mean? Like
You
it
just got to get him on
makes you realize
TikTok.
I'm right.
One thing that's funny too is like, I feel like what I have to do to get Grant, like chemtrails, no, I don't even know if he still will agree with me today, but now will send me stuff as like a joke. And for him, he just doesn't want to believe that there's that many evil people in the world because he's like a gorilla and he'll just roid rage and just beat the fuck out of everyone. So he just really like is like, I'd like to have my cognitive dissonance here and just like, and I'm like, that's fair. But you know what was great? He went on TikTok. And because I talk about this stuff around his phone, TikTok started serving him stuff. So my suggestion to any of my friends with their spouses is get them on TikTok and start talking about this stuff around TikTok. And then
I
the
love it.
algorithm will just start showing. And then all of a sudden he'll be sending me stuff. And then he started falling down the rabbit hole because of course there's just like, oh, here goes Brownie with her big ideas and her big, because I have such a massive, like, I'm just like, nothing's off the table. I am like a person that like
100%.
my mind is open and nothing's off the table. I don't believe everything's true, but I like to know stuff. And I don't think knowing conspiracies is a bad thing because it's just opening into your mind to bigger possibilities. When you're closed box and you refuse to believe things, then every information becomes terrifying. But when you
Yeah.
open up that, hey, there's a portal I could open here tomorrow and send me through somewhere else, then, shit's not necessarily as scary, but I just feel like you'd be open to it more. So I think with your family, that's probably quote unquote annoying, but eventually now this is coming mainstream. They're going to see it more and more on their
Oh
feeds.
yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it's not just mom saying it or my wife
Oh
or
yeah.
my spouse. It's like, oh, other people are saying it. Right. And it's not like, it's like, I don't give a shit how you figure out the information. Just get there with me or that,
Yeah,
or don't
girl.
like, that's fine. We don't all have to agree. And I bug him all the time and we'll talk about it. And, and now, but I do see him and like, especially with like the Hollywood stuff and like the satanic and kind of stuff. And like, I wasn't into that. Like I said, I was agnostic before the last couple of years. Then I fell down the rabbit holes and seen how evil Hollywood was. And I felt it wasn't even the fall of the cabal, which I think we talked about. There was another one. I think her name was Liz and Liz Wheeler. No, no, that's in it. Anyways, there's this one woman that she was speaking out and it was about Lindsay Lohan and Britney Spears and all of those girls, and it was like Pavement Princess or something. It was essentially about how Hollywood had used all these girls and how satanic it was. And then I fell into the fall of the cabal. And so
Yeah.
Grant would think that,
It's
but we didn't really talk about it.
realist.
Yeah. And then all of a
Almost
sudden
run by the
TikTok.
CIA, which is also
Yeah.
satanic. I mean, there's
100%.
another rabbit hole that we'll have to discuss at another
Yes.
time. But like
Yes.
when you dig into all of our founding fathers here in the U.S. were Freemasons, and Freemasonry,
Hmm.
they don't tell you until you get to the 33 level. Oh, by the way, we worship Lucifer,
100%. Yeah.
who's a
And you
fallen
see that here.
angel.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. And who we see, like, we see stuff all the time around here. There's signs everywhere with Freemason stuff like that too. But he started going on TikTok, and I was very against TikTok when it first came out. I was like,
yeah,
absolutely fucking not.
I was
But,
too.
but then as
Now it's
soon
less censored than the other ones are.
Yes, and so but then when I just was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm so suppressed on Instagram from talking about COVID and the vaccines that I got to
Mhm.
get my show out. So let's just do it for fun and see what happens." And then there was one night where you guys weren't available, you weren't allowed to be there, and all the Americans got kicked out for a night. Weirdest night of my life. Grant was at home and I was on TikTok all night catching up with people from UK, from Australia. It was so funny. But anyways, I was very against it, but then he started like bringing before when he used to be able to send TikToks to people that didn't have it, he would start seeing this stuff and he'd be like, "Hey, I started seeing this stuff." So, round long point, as much as I hated TikTok, if you need your spouse to know something, make sure they have it and just speak that around their phone and it comes up in their algorithm and then it just helps you validate that you're right.
I love it. I
Just
mean,
a thought.
I've discovered there's like a 5 year curve of me sharing things with my family, and
Yeah.
then it becomes mainstream news. Like I remember my husband getting mad at me when I told him about chemtrails,
Yes.
and he actively he's like, I would prefer not to. He gets cognitive dissonance really
Yeah.
bad. He gets
Same.
angry, which is
Yeah.
that's the normal response.
I think that's men's response. They
Um,
want to protect us and they can't protect us from this.
and he does prefer like a lot of things I know he would prefer not to know, and I know I
100%.
can't help know I can't help know the things I know because
I'm nosy.
I'm
I need
like
to
an
know.
information sponge. Like I like to know things. Like I
Mhm.
want to know. Like here's a funny one. Like 5 years ago, I remember we were on like a wedding anniversary trip, and I was like, this was before people were talking about this. Now it's common knowledge.
Of course.
I was like, Michelle Obama is a man.
Yeah, Michael.
Michael LeBon Robinson, right? We're gonna have to edit your video so much, girl. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay. No,
All this
Spotify and Apple is good. It's YouTube that we'll have to be careful for.
Oh my god! And so he got so mad at me, right? And it's like now it's like common, right?
Oh, it's a
Like
joke now.
they came out, right? It's a huge. I mean, look at her clavicles.
Look at her
Hello, it's
penis when
amazing.
she was flapping on Ellen.
Right? And
And
that's
now Bridget Macron, they can't even prove that she's not a woman.
well. Here's the thing too. And could be another topic. Like
Yes.
in its entirety, there's something called elite gender inversion. It's part of
Mm-hmm.
like a religious cult. Like people
Yeah.
don't realize, but like most people in Hollywood, they're trannies. People don't
Yes.
know. Like
No.
which is unfortunate because now we as women and men, but especially women, have gender dysmorphia because we thought that like Victoria's Secret models were like the epitome of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't realize those are men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because no one could have that level of body fat, those long arms, those shoulders,
Those cuts.
you know what I mean? All those things.
Yep.
Those are this is like really this is still not common. Those are not biological women.
No.
They're men that have been on female hormones their entire life.
Yeah.
But that's like that's a subset of our culture. People don't even realize.
Yeah.
Think about how much it's messed with us, right?
Oh,
Like comparing
and too,
yourself to
just
someone that you could never look like that because you're
no.
not a man.
No, and also there's also another level too of just plastic surgery in general, man. Like
Yeah.
there's so many like born women too that don't look like themselves because they've had the money to change themselves over time and they look completely different. And that's fine, I guess, but it's just like those are the things that make me sad because it's like we're holding ourselves to these standards that unless you're rich or like you know what I mean, or you're never going to have like I'm never
Yeah.
gonna, I don't, but the thing is here's my thing is that everyone that's doing plastic surgery on either side, they're all gonna look the same because they're all looking towards the same kind of goals of what Barbie or a Playboy model or whatever would look like. And I'm over here just like fighting for life and holding on to my wrinkles and my smile lines. And like my lip has actually, I don't know if this has happened to other people, but I've trained my lip to lay flatter on my mouth because I've believed that I used to like my lip used to be like that. And I've trained my lip to be flatter. So, because I didn't like my gummy smile. So I trained my upper lip to smile differently. So now it lays a little bit flatter. And as I'm aging, I'm noticing my lip is even just changing on its own as I age. And it's like, maybe if we just let our bodies naturally do what they need to do and love them as they're growing, we won't. And now I have zero need to touch my face. If, in fact, anybody that gets plastic surgery, Botox, or fillers, I feel like I have to do it even less to like be like, absolutely not. Like,
Well, they're
I don't
poisoning
know.
themselves, right? With a
It's
lot of
so
that
silly.
stuff.
For
So,
what? For what? For what?
we can age like in a good way.
100%.
Actually, I'm going to plug my Breakup with Botox guide.
Yes.
If you're not doing Botox, has a lot of great tips. And one of like the first thing I recommend to people is collagen.
Yeah, totally.
Collagen. Just like even based on what I was just saying about nutrition,
Hmm.
but your body needs collagen, your skin needs collagen. I mean, I think my skin's looking better than it did like 5 years ago, just based on the changes I've made,
Yeah.
like, but collagen also heals your gut. So
Mm.
there's that. And we're talking about gut health. Um, so I want to go back to the parasite
Of course, we
thing.
scrolled, but that's, we know we were going to be that. We're like that.
I know we can go, we have so much information here. But I want to share this research I've done.
Yes.
What was really interesting is that, so my dog died. I had adopted this dog. And this gets back to the correlation between parasites and cancer.
Mm.
My dog that I adopted was from Spain through this rescue called Florida Brittany Rescue. And I hope I don't start crying because she just passed away.
Yes.
But there's a nugget from this is that when I got her, they're like, there's a small chance she could have this illness called leishmania. And it's most likely won't happen, but could.
Yep.
And what is leishmania? Leishmania means they get in semi-arid regions like Spain and Croatia. These dogs get bit by a sand flea that carries this unicellular parasite that can live dormant in their body for up to 7 years and comes out. So of course that's what happened with my dog after we had her for like 2 years. I'm in the US. It doesn't exist in the US. I had a very hard time finding treatment for her, but the treatment was, of course, basically like chemo for dogs.
Okay.
And I had to order it from Portugal because it's not even approved here. I had to inject her myself.
Oh my gosh.
And at the time, that's the best I could do. But that's really what it was. It's a very harsh, like on your body. It was like chemo.
Yeah.
And then a couple years later, I discovered this treatment for leishmania that was basically, which of course was too late. I'd already given her that toxic shit because that's the best I knew at the time. I hadn't discovered this study.
Yeah.
This study where they tested 50 dogs that had leishmania on the stuff I gave Scout, which was like basically like chemo, like really toxic chemicals to kill this stuff in your body, but who knows what else it does to your body. And then the other one was an anti-malarial drug. And they took this anti-malarial, because think about it, this is a parasite living like in her body. And what happens is that it's not like the ones I pooped out. This lives at the cellular level. So it affects every single thing, right? And so once you have it, you never don't have it. Like you can keep the levels down, but it never like fully goes away. Mm-hmm. And so they found this study. It was anti-malarial and it cured all the dogs with no side effects. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I spent so much time trying to find this and get it because we don't have malaria here in the US. I ended up eventually ordering some from India. But the point of this story
You're so resourceful.
Girl, I am the internet. I
fucking love it. I feel so good now. If I need something, I'm just going to text Robyn.
I'm like emailing my husband's cousin who's like used to live in Africa. I'm like, do you have any contacts in Africa? Because I really want this one specific drug. I'm that girl. I'm like, and maybe it's a side of ADD. It's like hyper focus on certain things you find interesting.
Yeah.
But the reason I want to share this was it's like all of the research I found was that to treat cancer, people were having a ton of success using antiparasitics, anti-malarials. Malaria is a type of parasite. Like it's another, like, you know what I mean? Like
another form. Yep.
All the things, all the stuff that kills that seems to work for cancer. Like in dogs too. It wasn't just humans. So there is something to it. You know what I mean? Like, so why don't they recognize parasites as something here in the US?
Because it's woo-woo.
When
that's what it's been deemed as. It wouldn't
benefit them financially. Because how do they make money on us? By being sick. Mm-hmm. If it's a root cause thing, they're going to lose money. Yeah. Like, so remember I told you about that study they did with that fog they sprayed on us, and they showed that the fog was known to cause that type of pneumonia.
Yeah.
So one of my good girlfriends and my Crunchy Karens, her kids all had this, like, I don't know what you call it, like bronchitis, like chest stuff, chest congestion. They were sick. she took him to a regular doctor. They wanted to put them on antibiotics. For some reason, she couldn't get them or didn't want to put them on antibiotics. And she treated them with ivermectin. I want to say minbendazole, which is the human version, and it went away. And her husband was so pissed at her. He's like, "What are you doing? You're batshit crazy, treating our kids with dewormers for, you know, this
A
chest
respiratory
infection."
disease. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it
Almost.
worked. Like,
Mhm.
so what do you say about that? You
Yeah.
know?
Shut him up, I'm
Um,
sure. But I get it though. Like that's the one thing I want people to know is like when I fell down this, like I was very pharmaceutical first. Like I think most people in life, like we're so programmed to just go for medication. So it's like unless you've had an experience outside of that, I understand when people are like, what are you doing? Like, we have science, we have this. But it's like, okay, cool. Have you talked to anybody that has used that or their side effects or how that actually, like, or do you just hear about it or it's being sold on ads that medications are the answer for everything, right? So I get people's like, what are you doing? But at the same
yeah,
time, it's just like, as a society, have we gotten better? I don't think we've gotten better. I think
no,
we've gotten sicker. So why
we've
wouldn't we
got
try
much
for
sicker,
alternatives, right? So it's like
100%.
I get it, but at the other time you have to look at it and go, well, we have pharmaceuticals and science and allopathic medicine for a long time. And I will argue, no, it's not because we have more preventative measures. I'm sorry, no, it's not. I just do not believe that for a second. I believe that um, we're just getting sicker because of the accumulation of everything, especially
And
millennials.
chemicals,
Like I
we have so
feel
many
like
chemicals and our, like, how,
exactly
like, if anything, we're just bombarded, and
overconsumption everywhere.
and the treatments they give you are more chemicals to treat things that probably came from being exposed to chemicals, right? Like,
100%.
it's just crazy, which
Yeah.
is what Huda Clark says, is like, this is the gate, the chemicals are the gateway for the
Mhm.
parasites.
Yeah.
And like really throwing your body out of whack. So to get back to gut health, the
Mhm.
other thing I want to talk about, like, yes, so your gut being a second brain, I do think it's so important to really focus on that.
Yep.
So like, if anyone's got issues with their gut, like, who doesn't, right? Like, first I recommend
I'm gonna go
this
buy that
book,
book. I'm gonna buy it
Super
today.
Gut.
Yep.
But some of the things that I recommend is like, you need to cut out wheat,
Mhm.
period.
Mhm.
If you're not eating wheat from, like, if you're going to eat wheat, make it very
From
infrequent,
Italy.
make sure it's organic from Italy. Yeah, that's it. Like, that's like, I eat it like 4 times a year, and that's when it is, and I
Yeah.
make it myself. I know where it came from.
Yeah.
So that's like a huge irritant to the gut. That's what leads to a leaky gut. And that's not my words. That's a doctor who wrote a book about it. It's called Wheat Belly. But then you have to work on like rebuilding the gut, right? Things like collagen, getting enough collagen. Like, in my book I'm writing, I have a whole chapter dedicated to collagen.
I
Like,
can't wait because I know nothing of this. And I was watching your little marshmallow things. I was like, okay, when I get back from Hawaii, I'm making these fucking collagen gummies or the marshmallows.
yeah,
This looks so cool.
they're
It's just
really
like,
fun
what
to like
can't you
coffee.
do?
I'm like really into collagen. Yeah, because, well, like, just like I said, like, I've been eating lean cuts with no collagen, like, you know what I
Mhm.
mean, just lean cuts of veggies all these years. But like,
Yeah.
really, it's the collagenous cuts your body wants, like the less desirable stuff with all the tendons, which is why, like, ground beef, when they mix all that other shit in, is actually really good for you, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
organ meats too, like, just
Yeah.
mix. Like, I buy a ground beef mix where they mix the organ meats in. That's like your daily multivitamin, you
Yes, I've
know?
heard that. And there's like one company that my girlfriend said is really good. I think it's called Heart and Soul. And
Yes.
they offer, and which I think I'm going to start with because I won't be fucking eating liver. But they don't just mix everything into one. They have like each one has its own capsule so that you're not just like with multivitamins, it's like, what are you actually getting? So I've actually heard the same thing is like
Yeah.
those like the gross parts that we don't eat, that the nice steak or the, bacon, but it's those other things that are good that get you can grind up, and same with like broth and stuff like that, like making broth from
Exactly.
the bones and stuff like that too. And it's like
Yeah.
maybe you can get that out of a broth thing from Campbell's, but probably not, right? Like it's probably best to make your stuff yourself. So that Heart and Soul I've heard is really good, is actually something that
Yeah.
I'm really going to look into because again, I'm so nervous about stuff. But her man is a supplement. That's my friend Torva that had the stage 4 cancer that's down in Texas. Her man is like a supplement king. Like he knows the good ones, and they both said that those ones are good. So I'm going to start looking into that because I've heard that too, like the livers and the intestines and stuff like that is ideal for
It
like that's what
is.
you need from the animal the most.
That's got the, like, it's like a multivitamin.
Yeah.
And What's interesting is you say that is that company Heart and Soil is made by Paul Saladino, who's basically like the father of the animal-based diet. Like
Okay.
he
Okay.
used to be carnivore MD and he realized, hey, my body needs carbs. So he kind of shunned himself from the carnivore community. But what I respect about him is that he was open-minded enough, especially as a doctor, right, to take
Yeah.
information in and change. And so I was actually listening to this podcast that he did. This was like it was like if you want to do a deep dive on nutrition, it was like but he did it with Georgie Dinkoff, who's been a long time. This was from like 2022. He did the podcast, but it was the one with. I'm sorry, I can't seem to
That's
figure out how
okay.
to turn my messages off my computer, and my Uncle Bill is texting me a million times. So anyway, sorry.
It's okay.
So Paul Saladino and Georgie Dinkoff, who is like this guy, kind of blew my mind. He's like I don't even know what to call him, but he's very well read. You'll hear on the
Mhm.
podcast. He was talking about specifically in like medieval times, the aristocrats would keep the organ meats and give the peasants the lean cuts
Right? See?
because they're. And then he was also saying in like the wild animals when they kill another animal they go for the
The
organs
organs.
first,
Hmm.
which is
Hmm.
interesting, right? Because that's the stuff we've been shunning, but that's like what's the most nutrient dense.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't taste real good either, right? It's not like you can throw some barbecue sauce on a liver and it's gonna be as
I
good as a
know,
steak. Like nothing tastes better than a steak. Like nothing.
I
My
know,
favorite meal is steak, asparagus or broccoli, and a potato. Like
which actually is really healthy for you.
my
So
favorite. It just costs $1 million every time we eat it in here, Canada. Like a
I know,
steak, maybe this big, is probably like $15 to $20 Canadian. So that's what, 25 American for one steak?
yeah,
And
it's crazy.
now, and now I think I sent this to you, maybe I didn't. Now Health Canada has approved clone meat with no labeling. So you best believe
That's
when we get
scary.
back from fucking Hawaii, we're going to be buying a freezer and we're going directly, like we go to a local butcher like store, but I will be buying directly from a rancher and freezing my meat and doing that now if that is how Health Canada is going. Like
That's the
where
way you
is the
should do it.
where is the nutrition coming onto that? It's not. It's not
Well,
existent.
and also the other thing is even in the US, we're not better because
No,
like the cattle association or the lobbying group for cattle, whatever they're called, I'm having a brain fart now, basically have approved the use of mRNA vaccines.
exactly. So
So you
it's like,
cannot trust, like, which sucks is I like to go to Costco, obviously,
yes,
and get deals on meat, but you really can't trust what they're putting in
not
it.
anymore. Not
And
anymore.
you don't know what country it comes from, which
Nope.
these days I actually feel like coming from a different country might be better than coming from
It
ours.
might be. It might be. Or you can find the real farmers, and that's what we're struggling right now. And I'm not sure if you heard about the Canadian government. I mean, there's a lot to this, and I don't need shade for this, but they just killed 300 ostriches in a farm here in BC, culled them entirely. Now, there's a lot of political stuff behind it, but it comes down to the government jumping in and deciding with this avian flu thing what people can do and just like eliminating like the who's stamp out policy. So I don't want to get too much into it because I'm still learning because I also understand that people can be manipulated on all sides. So I do understand that something could look for a good cause and maybe it's not, and that's what this thing online is. But it just blows my mind that the government can just go and do this and hurt farmers the way that they do
Oh
without
yeah,
even conversation, just because this was a policy from a foreign entity 20 years ago. We're still dealing with that, but you guys are going to advance fake meat. And I actually I love this person I work with. He's one of my favorite people, but he's a huge scientist, loves vaccines, loves all that, all good. But he said to me, he's like, I would love lab grown meat. That would just save so much for everything. And I was just like, I can't. I'm sorry, bro. I can't get. I love you, but I cannot get on board. Like I would rather, and I'm not a hunter. I'd rather go out and kill something and cover it with my own hands before I'm going to eat something that was made in a fucking lab.
yeah,
Like
it's
we're
gross.
already depleted of all of our nutrients and stuff. There's no way, in my opinion, that science is going to be able to recreate that. Like
Well,
in
what
an
are they
in a
putting in it, right?
and that's it. What are they putting in it? Like
GMO
I
meat?
just
No thanks.
no,
No
thank
thanks.
you. Like I can't even like whatever. Once in a while I have a hot dog and even then I get sick to my stomach, but I'm like whatever. But honestly, at this point I'm like, are hot dogs better because is it all the fucking bones and meats and other random stuff that the animal is not deemed as good is now shoved into this tube? And I was like, maybe hot dogs are good for us. Maybe that's the joke now. Cuz like I'm
Right? I mean, it's so
not
hard,
saying it
right?
is,
Like you
but
have to
like
read labels like a hawk, and really, you have to just advocate so hard. So to your point,
yeah.
like look for local farmers that you
Yeah.
like. I have a food buyers club that I buy from,
Cool.
and they do have like they call it like carnivore blend. They'll do the meat where the ground beef where they'll mix in heart and spleen and kidney, and it's so much more. like beneficial for you, but then you're not like eating liver, like you're not
Yeah,
like
eating a straight cow heart.
but
Like
you
we're not
can't
on
like
fucking Fear Factor.
exactly. But the cows are trustworthy, right? Like I
Yeah.
know I could buy a whole cow from them if I wanted, and
Yeah.
I know that cows never had a vaccine,
Yeah.
like nothing, right? Like actually they're old rodeo cows that are
Yes.
actually pretty tough, but at least I know there's like nothing that they were injected with. But there are a lot of places online, like if you look at like Rep Provisions is a good
Mhm.
one. At least I know they ship to the US. I don't know about Canada, but
There's in
they're
Canada too.
regenerative
There's lots of
farming.
farmers. Yeah.
Yeah, like so there are like e-com direct to consumer places you can find so that you can try harder, right?
Mhm.
To like not in like because we just don't know what they're doing to our food supply.
No, we don't.
And so back to gut health, like the collagen is going to help.
Yeah.
Super. There's a yogurt. It's the L Ruteri yogurt in this book.
Okay.
I will actually be putting that in my cookbook because I think it'll help people.
Yes.
Like, but I just think people like even when you're just eating like a steak, like how can I add collagen to my diet today?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like a because the glutamate and the amino acid profile and just like collagen and gelatin, those are just basically two different forms of collagen. Like,
Yeah.
um, is what's healing to the gut and helps rebuild. So if you are having gut issues, like that's like a good thing to start. Like even just putting the collagen in your coffee. You know, you can make the fruit gummies like Jello. Like we grew up eating
Yes.
Jello, but it was full of food dyes. But the gelatin itself is actually really good for you. You know,
And
so
that's what I was gonna ask you. So, like, do I just get to go to the store and buy some Jello, and then that's the call it quits? But it's like actual gelatin, which is like animal based, is it not?
yeah, and actual
Yeah.
gelatin from Jello is gelatin, but they just
Okay,
add
it's
food
just a
dyes
dyes.
and a bunch of nasty other stuff. But you can make your own. I'm actually coming out with I have a fruit gummies recipe, of course, that will be coming
Yay!
out soon. So like,
Okay,
yeah. So this is all stuff I'll have in my book.
perfect.
But you'll see it on my feed too. But
I feel like that's gonna be once the book comes out. I'm gonna do like a series, like a once a week on a weekend, and been like trying recipes from Robyn's cookbook, and then just have like a basic and someone that's not really good at cooking or anything, and just try it and be like, "See, if I could do it, you could do it."
well, that's the point. Is like this should be for anyone, right? Like you don't
Yes.
have to be, and it's not all about grilling because like
No,
there's
no,
so
yeah.
much more than that. Like
Cooking,
I'll be
just
putting that part in, but
yeah, nutritional value in food, right? I think when I grew up, it was just like food, right? And you hear a lot of people in the fitness industry like calories in, calories out. Yes, to a degree when you're looking at weight loss, but by cutting those calories and being so restrictive, what are you also restricting from you that is good for you, right? Like
well, that's a good
back to the
point.
sugar, right? And all those things. It's like all these things are demonized. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
I just think too restrictive, too focused, like just try and be open with it more, be more balanced. Like that's what you
Balance is
need is a
key.
true balance. Like, and even with junk food, unpopular opinion, I think sometimes it's okay if you have a little junk food, right? Like, I'm like, I love my Aldris crispers, you just get like, I don't think I have ADHD or autism, but I do get like focused on a food. And then I'm like, this is good. And I'm obsessed with it. Like I have an addictive personality is what I think it is more than like ADHD. I'm just addicted. And once I find something, I'm like, I want to eat it right now. I'm all for the Aldris crispers, man. Nothing makes me happier than a handful and I'll eat it. And I'm like, but I eat decent, well not right now, but when I'm eating normally, like I eat fruit for breakfast and some protein. I'll have a muffin or banana bread at work, bro. I don't know if you've ever seen that thing that goes around like banana bread at work, bro. Yeah, I fucking love it. And like I love baking and I love those things. I think it's in moderation. Like the minute you put
100%.
you deem a food really bad and you negatively put that thought into that food and then you eat it, I think that has more damage than being like 80 20 I think is great. 80 of like good, clean, solid, go back to your ancestors. What were they eating? Like that kind of
Yeah,
diet,
yeah.
and try to stay with 20% of the processed stuff. Now, being in Canada specifically, when we only have like sun for like 6 months out of the year, like those things are hard to come by. But like frozen fruit and vegetables are just as good because they're frozen, flashed at the time that they're the
Yeah.
most beneficial, right? So you do have to
And
do the
usually at better
work.
price. Like I
A
can buy
hundred percent.
frozen organic vegetables much better. Like I feel like the quality of that is better than when I buy fresh at the grocery store because by the time
Totally.
it gets to me, it's like it's already half past its prime.
100%.
For
So
like
this
things
is
like smoothies or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And to your point about like moderation, like my naturopath doctor is always like, don't subscribe to some like food cult. You know what I mean? He's like, it's
Yes,
about balance.
exactly.
It's about like eating whole foods. And
Mhm,
even in my book, like, so my book is based on the animal based diet, which means no vegetables. Well,
mhm.
let's talk about like, if you starve your body and quit eating anything but meat for like 6 months, like most carnivores do, then what happens is and this is what Dr. Darren told me, and that's his thing, is nutritional testing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so
Mm-hmm.
that's his jam, right?
Yeah.
He's like, then what happens is that you starve your gut bacteria that exist in your microbiome, that's able to break those things down. So now when you add them back in,
You're going to have an intolerance.
yeah. And so it makes it hard, right? So even with the book, like supposedly like vegetables are bad, but you need some vegetables, right? Like you
Yeah.
need prebiotic fiber, which are things like in asparagus, like because
Mm-hmm.
you have to feed your gut bacteria the stuff that it likes for it to be happy and successful and to work in your body, because your gut being your second brain, if it's happy, your body's happy, right?
Yeah.
So like there
Yeah.
is balance. So what you'll see in my book is I'm going to be trying to keep that in mind, but
Yes.
talking a lot about I'm dedicating a section to fermentation,
Okay.
because fermented vegetables are a good thing. Things like
Yeah, like
kimchi, adding
sauerkraut.
in those good like the good bacteria, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what your body wants. So things like I have like a kimchi deviled egg recipe, but you could just go buy kimchi at the store. Like you don't have to make your own, but you could ferment your own pickles, or even like a fermented hot sauce, right? Like these are things you can add back in. Like if you've done damage to your gut, yes, you got to clean that nasty bacteria out. That's what the candibactin will do. If you think you have SIBO, if you have like gassiness, bloating, all the things, a lot of food intolerances, you most likely do. You could
Mm-hmm.
test for it. But once you've done the cleansing of the bad bacteria, you have to add the good bacteria back in,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's like, you want to have a targeted strategy. And if you really dork out on this, you can go get GI mapping testing done to
Mm-hmm.
figure out like exactly what you need, right? Because
Yeah.
if you blindly just take a probiotic, you don't know which strains they have, and you could be doing more damage or feeding the wrong ones.
Yeah.
So just be like, like it's a process, right? You're not going to heal your gut overnight. It's going to be a process. But
It's like a
luckily,
science experiment, right?
yeah, you are your own guinea pig, right? But at least like you can take your own health into your hands. Like you're gonna, like, honestly, reading Dr. Davis's book, you're probably gonna be better equipped than your average gastrointestinal doctor, enterologist, just because I don't think they learn that stuff. They learn how to do surgery, I think, is mainly what I've learned. So,
Well, and back to your point is like, and I'm not saying any of this is in malintent, but no one's gonna start searching um how to eliminate their industry. You know what I mean? And
100.
not even, like I said, not even a bad way. Like these people go to school for this. They're surrounded by all these people. This is their entire lives. Why, unless something's happened to them, why would you think otherwise? Like I said, I don't know if it was in your episode, but like I don't want to wake up every day thinking everyone's just an asshole out to get me. Like I can't live in, I was during the pandemic, man, at the height of the pandemic when we were locked down, I was like, fuck everybody, anybody that has a vaccine, I hate all of you. I hope you all die. Not really, but you know what I mean? Because I was just like, I feel so like it was not a good time. And there's so much
Well, it was
fear,
very
right?
polarizing, us
Very
versus them,
polarizing.
or them versus
Yes.
us.
Yes. Yes. And it felt that way. And it's like, you can't have an opinion because you're not a doctor or you're not this. And I'm like, okay, but what about this doctor that's speaking? Oh, well, not that doctor because he's a pseudoscience doctor. It's like, I think that the biggest thing right now is information war on all avenues, and when it comes to health and gut health, I feel like that is the most suppressed because that is the root cause for a massive amount of mental illness and physical illness. I believe it starts there, and I believe especially women, but I want to say this with men too, because men go, don't get it checked out, you get dismissed, you get told it's just anxiety, like we talked about with the Botox women. Oh, it's just anxiety. No, babe, you're having botulism. Your body is actually shutting down and you're actually being poisoned right now, right?
Yeah.
Like it just, and I don't think
The
anybody has
side
these.
effects from all of that is going to go on for
Exactly.
years.
Exactly. And then so people just get dismissed. And then all of a sudden it gets to this really bad level where it's like you have to go in aggressively because you've been told to ignore all of these little things. But really, at the end of the day, is when those things start happening, if you just started looking at your gut and start eliminating processed foods, I think that's the first step. Like, I
All those
honestly think,
irritants. Think about all those
yes,
irritants. If you don't recognize what that ingredient is, do you think your body does?
no,
I've
it's
had
not
this
going to.
ongoing discussion and argument with my family about fucking Gatorade, because my kid,
Yeah.
excuse my French, my
Yeah.
kid's
No.
playing baseball right now, and all his
Yep.
friends are drinking Gatorade. And I'm like, have you guys looked at the ingredients on this? Outside of just the
Yeah.
food dyes, which are all banned in Europe, which
Yep.
those food dyes have been shown to cause behavioral issues. Like
ADHD.
there
Yeah.
is no, and I had a friend who her kid was acting out and getting in trouble at school and like almost got kicked out of school. And you know what? She figured out what was causing it. the Gatorade at baseball
Yes.
practice after school. Like it was
There's
literally like messing with him that bad.
And there's
Um,
so many other electrolytes and like salt drinks that you can have that will do the same thing. But these now, again, at a high mass scale, are going to have preservatives. They're going to have colorings. And like, I will say, Canada is a lot more ahead in the US when it comes to dyes. Like, our Fruit Loops have natural dyes in them, right? Like, it's
oh
so,
wow,
yeah, like if you go look at our cereals, like you can look at the difference of our Fruit Loops. It's almost like next time you're at the grocery store, take a picture of your Fruit Loops box and I'll take a picture of mine. And
wow,
ours are very muted colors because they're actually made from fruit coloring
wow!
instead.
Wouldn't
So
that
there
be
are,
nice?
right? So it's like I get people need to replenish. I know Gatorade feels so good at the time, but there are other alternatives that you can take that will do the same thing that don't have all these chemicals in them.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. So you got to read your labels
yeah.
because yeah, like don't put that's what's irritating. If you're looking to heal your gut, like you got to even things like diet soda, like
Mm-hmm.
sucralose. People don't realize sucralose. It's a chlorine. It's going to kill your good gut bacteria. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's healthy. It's got sucralose in it. Well, that's not healthy at all. Like I
Or
just had this like
aspartame.
health and wellness company send me this prebiotic whatever and it had sucralose in it. I'm like, so you want to feed my gut while also disturbing my gut,
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make
right?
sense.
But people
Yeah.
don't know.
No.
And it's just crazy,
Yeah.
like actually sucralose was developed originally as like I think it was a pesticide, and
Mm.
they discovered it was
Love
sweet,
that.
and that's
Yeah.
what's in our diet sodas, and it's
Yeah.
in things like sugar-free Gatorade.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
And
it's
like,
just crazy.
and I'm not judging, man. I have an energy drink addiction. I have my things, right? Like, and I know those aren't good, and I'm aware, but like, we all have to do our things. But it's like, try to eliminate what you can, and then start working on those other ones, right? Like, and I think that's where people get overwhelmed. It's like, oh my god, you. Okay, I seen this one reel where she's like, okay, eat that 2,000 calories. Okay, oh no, but don't eat too many 2,000 calories. That's too much. Okay, we'll just have this kind of diet. Well, no, no, don't. Like you could go online, and that's what I'm saying. The information where you can go online and find anybody to prove or disprove what
Yeah,
your thoughts are. So I think what it has to do is you do have to be your own science experiment. You do need to look at yourself and and give yourself grace. If you tried something and it didn't work, okay, on to the next. Like, but
yeah,
don't like harp on yourself being like, oh, I'm such a fucking idiot and I should have done that. It's like you're trying and who
yeah,
knows who's right, right? Like obviously we want to know that people make the most money. They don't care, but I don't believe that they're uncaring people. I think they're just caught
yeah.
up in their personal lives and they're spiritually like their pineal gland is just they don't see outside. They're just here, they're NPCs almost, they're just doing their things.
Well,
There's
people
no
are in like
bigger impact.
we're so toxified, right?
Mm-hmm.
To
Mm-hmm.
some level, and people
Mm-hmm.
are just doing the best they can. They don't even realize, like,
Think
um,
about makeup, hairspray, perfume. Like I think back to being a millennial and like how much glitter I consumed. Like that could not be good for my liver at the time. You know what I
I
mean?
know,
Like the call gun spray with the glitter. Like,
I
babe, I used
know.
that for like a year straight. But people don't think about that. Getting your hair dyed, getting your eyelashes done all the time, getting your nails done, getting Botox, getting fillers, the clothing that we wear. There's a woman named
I know.
Hannah Dunning. I don't know if you know who she is. She's in Hawaii. I'll send her to you. She is on a mission to get toxic plastic out of our clothes. Like Lululemon, trash. Trash is pretty much
Oh, it's
plastic.
terrible for you.
And
I
then you
mean,
just put
they're
that
all
plastic.
endocrine disruptors.
Yeah. And so you put that plastic right by your hoo ha and you're sweating and your pores open when you're sweat. So it's just, and when you get into this, and I'm sure you felt this way, you go in the rabbit hole, you're like, everything is poisoning. Oh my God. And
Oh,
then
it
you just don't
is.
even want to leave your house or breathe. And it's like, okay, I get that, but this is always how it's been. So we're okay.
You can
And
make
what can
small
you do?
changes, right, over time.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Like
that's my
it's
point. Don't be so
it's a
stressed.
process. It's not like, it took me a long time to convince my husband to like use a natural uh, laundry detergent because
Yeah.
he's like, this stuff smells like shit and blah
Yep.
blah blah. But
Yep.
and to get rid of like the dryer
Plastic.
sheets, yeah, and just like little things. And then we're still not perfect, but
No.
at least we're making smaller changes like
Yes. And
over time.
being aware of it, like detoxing your body. And I'm not saying necessarily doing these cleanses. I'm talking like, do you sweat in a day? Have you moved your body and got your heart rate up? And sweating is so good for you. Like we're just saying, like right now, I'm like, I don't know if it's THC intolerance, like lowering or what it is that's making me sweat, but I know it's good. So I'm just
Yeah,
sitting here supporting it. Like I'm not having a good sleep this last couple nights because I've been sweating, but I'm not going to go take melatonin or a sleep aid to help me do that. I'm letting my body do what it needs to do without adding to it. So it's like try to do what you can with the most discomfort that you can, but also don't overdo it. Start small. If food isn't where you need to start, okay, look at your mental health or look at what is your food coming in. Microwaving plastic, not the best idea. Can you switch to glass? Can you heat it
Exactly.
up in the oven? Can you, just baby things like that, and maybe like do a monthly thing where, you know what, I'm going to attack um my biggest one for everyone, I think, is makeup. Makeup and the personal beauty care stuff, I think, should be the
Yeah.
first to go, because you truly don't need it. Not to be rude, and I know we all need our things. I wear mascara. That is it. Like, I should have a face care routine, and I'm working into that. But like, I just don't. I think that if we could just start eliminating the toxic and
Yeah.
making sure that we're sweating in a day and we're doing what our bodies are designed to do, supporting our livers and kidneys by good processes. I think sweating means so much. I don't know. I'm such a person
No
that I was
sweating.
like,
I mean, that means you're detoxing, right? That's how you get rid of
exactly.
all the stuff.
Yeah, I remember
And the
smelling
skin's
when I
like the
first
largest
moved.
organ on your body. So when you're
It
putting
is
the chemicals
like
directly on,
sunscreen.
I was just about to say, I used to like put so much chemical sunscreen on. I used to run on the beach every day, and I didn't know. And I was just thinking, like, what did I expose myself to? I had
100%.
a friend that I used to do sailing with, and Dr. Steve, he was a doctor, he was a dermatologist, and he ended up dying of leukemia. And I'm always like, did he poison himself? You know what I mean?
Yep.
With exposure to sunscreen. Like, these are
Yep.
the things that happen, like, that I think about in my mind,
It just kind of makes me funny. I've been arguing against sunscreen forever. We moved to Kelowna. It's like the California of Canada. It gets really hot here. That's why people come here. And we were burned all the time, and we were overexposing ourselves, like lathering on. And then I fell down the rabbit hole, and I was like, why am I putting a chemical on me to go in the sun? And then what chemicals inside of me, seed oils specifically, are then activating that? And everyone just demonizes the sun. I'm like, babe, sun is the reason why we live and breathe. So I'm not going
There
to
are
demonize
batteries
it.
that need to be charged, right? That's how we
Exactly.
charge
And so
ourselves.
for me now, I just respect the sun. So I'll go out for an hour or two, and if I feel my skin burning, I go in the shade for a bit. Or I
And
put
that's
on
the
a
smart
hat
thing to
or a
do.
shirt, but I don't demonize the sun, and I don't over abuse it. But people just want to be on the beaches for 4 or 5 hours at a time. They want their kids to go run and do all those things. And when I sit at the beach here and I'm just watching people with the aerosol, I'm just like,
Right?
I can't. Like, so I think those are the
They don't
things that
know,
where you
and
could
we
start.
know.
I
It's like,
know. And I
compared
don't
to,
even know if I'm right. But my thoughts are, if I don't have it, the chances are I'm not going to be affected by it. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't take this supplement, I probably won't get sick by it. So I'm just like, I'm
100.
rather not.
And you mentioned a lot of people don't realize the correlation between seed oils and burning.
Yes. And medications. There's
Yeah.
a lot of medications that you're not supposed to be in the sun. And a lot of people don't know medications combined. Birth control, antibiotics, your birth control doesn't work anymore. Didn't know that. People don't know that because your doctor's not going to tell you that, and your pharmacist is not going to tell you that. I had to find that out online. So it's just like, this is why I think it's so funny when people
A
demonize
pretty big
online.
detail.
Yeah. And like YouTube and stuff is like, oh, you just watch it on YouTube. Cool. Well, all the news stations have YouTubes too. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's information. I'm a fucking podcaster. If you're going to take health advice from me, that's on you, babe. Like, that's on you. All I'm saying, me personally, and I know same with you, you've researched a lot. So I feel like you have, food that is your, bread and butter. But like for me, I'm just letting people know what other people's experiences are so that they can see a contrast. I'm not saying do whatever the fuck you want. I just want people informed. And we're not informed on a lot of things because a lot of people have cognitive dissonance, or they're paid to suppress you or go against you, you know?
Well, and the media companies are all owned by the same people. And
Exactly.
they're owned
There's
by the same people that run the world that are trying to kill us. So why would you
exactly.
trust information from them?
No doubt. And it's like they put out more vaccines, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, well, yeah, you could have side effects from vaccines, but we're going to protect the companies that made those."
Yep, because that's who runs
Cool.
the ads on their stations, or
Yes,
like it's a
exactly.
vicious cycle.
Which I
I
heard
would
RFK is trying
trust
to.
information I got off of TikTok more than I would the news, honestly.
At this point, 100%, 100%. And I think that's why I said it's information war. And I think people get overwhelmed and then they just shut down and go, fuck it. Because I'm not feeling shitty right now. But I would just urge people that, unfortunately, when you do start feeling shitty, sometimes that's too late. Like when you're feeling
100%.
really shit, right? So like dial it back and just see how you can, and don't stress, or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. I drink an energy drink a day. I smoke weed. Like I'm nowhere perfect. My dinner last night was literally all just chips because I was so sick. I just couldn't eat. Like nobody's perfect. I'm not saying perfect. Robyn's not saying we're perfect. We're just saying
I'm definitely an imperfect person.
advocate for
Lived off of
yourself.
Diet Coke for literally 10 years before I mean, that's probably why I had so many parasites, because they're attracted to all those chemicals,
Of course. Absolutely. And that's why I'm like, yeah, I got to talk to her about this. Yeah, I got to do it. But again, for me, and that's why I was so excited that you brought it up, and why I haven't brought it up on the show, because anybody else that I have met are selling it, or selling an
Yeah.
idea about it. And that part bothers me because I'm like, I don't know if I could trust you because you're making money off of this. And I'm not saying that don't
Yeah.
just trust people are making money, but at the same time, it's like, of course you're advertising for this. You're not going to be
Mhm.
like, oh, this wasn't a good time. Like,
Yeah.
so back to everything. So let's just go back to basics before we end the episode today. So I think the first step here is buying those books. The gut health book I think is huge. That one's huge. The
It's
other cure all of
Super Gut.
diseases.
Super
Super
Gut
gut.
by
Sorry. Yeah.
Dr. William Davis.
Okay.
Honestly, I like it would have saved me a lot of time and research had I found this book before I basically researched the hell out of everything and then realized that his protocol for healing SIBO was actually what I was doing. But you need to, if you're having gut issues, read it because there's a lot of great advice, not just about what to do to heal SIBO, but just lifestyle choices,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then foods that are going to help rebuild your gut
Yeah.
because these are stuff that like fermenting and getting the right probiotics. These are all things that are going to help build your gut back. That's tied to your immune system, all the things, right? Like we all need that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's a good start. Like just get the book and start reading it. And
Yeah.
my always thing too, when I'm talking to people, like if I talk to them about their health and fitness journey, I think a lot of people focus on quote unquote, and I say, yeah, eliminate stuff. But when it comes to that, like add the good stuff in first. You know what I mean? Like if eliminating stuff is too hard, then go and look at those foods that are good for you to support and start there and start
Yeah.
exploring how you can add positive foods or positive habits to your life because eventually those positive ones you'll start to see that your old negative ones are no longer serving you. Like I always say with
Yeah.
people, just start lifting, just start exercising. Don't worry. I know that abs are made in the kitchen and blah, 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 blah. But food is the hardest thing for people. Nutrition is the hardest thing for people. So start by lifting weights. Once you start
Mm-hmm.
lifting weights, you'll start realizing, oh, fuck, I got to eat more. And oh, fuck, protein is going to be huge for me to continue on with this.
Yeah.
And by
Yeah.
natural progression, you'll start cleaning up your diet because then you're like, wow, I'm not making progress in the gym now. And it's like, oh shit, it's probably because I'm eating like a dickhead. And then you start toning that. So it's like taking that one step forward in whatever avenue. Maybe nutrition is, maybe the gym isn't it. Maybe it is the nutrition. And then as you start going on these journeys of bettering yourselves, you will find ways to then incorporate new things. But when you look at this giant staircase that you have to get to the top to, it's so overwhelming. Look at step
I
one,
know.
maybe step
Yeah.
one, two, and three. And plan it out. Like I'm such a planner. I'm such a corporate girly. I'm like, okay, what is the goals for Q4? What are we doing? And then in Q1, which is January, which fuck everyone, I love New Year's resolutions. I don't care. Time isn't real. Sure, it's not, but I am a very data and analytical person. I know you are
Well, it
too.
helps you stay on track,
It does. And that's what I want. If you don't want that, that's fine. But I look at everything in a quarter. And then every quarter, I'm like, okay, what did the last quarter look like? What did I do? What didn't I? What can I do for the
Yeah.
next one? And so maybe that's it. It's like, okay, for the end of the year, maybe this time's not the best time of the year because we got Halloween. You guys still have Thanksgiving. We already had ours. And then we have Christmas and New Year's, right? So I know maybe now's not the time, but just maybe add in reading this book. And in Q1, I'm going to implement some of the things that book said.
Yeah.
I'm going to start adding stuff. And then in Q2, I'm going to start removing some of the bad stuff, and you don't have to hold to that, but just, okay, so I don't have to worry about Q2, 3, and 4 right now. I just have to worry about Q1 and just nailing that. And then I can move on to the next, or maybe that leaks over. You know what I mean? Like you just
Yeah.
have to do what's with you, but baby steps, whether
100%.
eliminating
Even if
or
you're like, I'll
adding.
never give up pasta. Well, buy
You might.
organic as a first step so you
Yep.
ensure you're not ingesting weed killer.
Yep.
And try to get it from Italy because
Yep.
try to get original wheat, not the stuff we've hybridized here in the US. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
look at your food quality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if there's certain things you're like, I'm not gonna give that up, okay.
That's
Make
fine.
it a better quality. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
that's a
And
big
just
deal,
don't be
I think.
stressed. Yeah, and just wanting to be better and just like opening up to God, universe, source, whomever of like, hey, start bringing these things into my life. Please start showing me, please start guiding me and showing me these opportunities. Watching shows like this, like watching interviews, going in the DMs, going to look at Robyn. Okay, collagen sounds good to you. Well, guess what? Babe's got a bunch of shit on her fucking Instagram that's going to teach you that and in her books. You know what I mean? Like just start
Yeah,
baby.
100%.
And I feel like a lot of us have lost confidence in ourselves. And a way to gain confidence in yourself is by making promises, baby promises, and keeping them and start
Yeah.
trusting yourself again. Right. And I think that's it. It's like, okay, you know what? I really like this collagen thing. I don't have that. I definitely can use that on my face. My face is not, but I feel like internally I'd rather go and have collagen to see what it is outside than go get a face mask to just try and, or Botox to just try and fix my face. Right. So
Yeah,
there's lots of
collagen is like
information.
you want to glow from outside, you need to glow inside, and collagen is the building block of everything, right?
Exactly.
So
So just start there. Start with one topic that makes
you
you
can buy
feel good.
collagen at Costco, like the
Yes.
what's the Vital Protein, or
Yeah.
even my Publix, that's my local grocery store, sells it, and it's not a bad quality. I mean, I like the Equip Foods when I remember to order it, but
Yep.
like you can find it. At least that's you're starting somewhere.
Exactly. And
Put it
that's
in your
all it
coffee.
is.
It's not hard to put stuff in coffee. It has no taste.
No, I don't drink
But I
coffee,
will
but
say,
but,
I
but
think it does. It's helped with like my skin elasticity. I mean, I'm 47, and
yeah,
I
I
think
could not know that.
yeah, I think it's helping.
Yeah, and I
And
need
you're
that because
20. It's
like
all the things, right?
yes,
It's
yes. And I
for
think
sure.
there's lots of information out there, but just tone it down, breathe, and start with one step, right? But we didn't really say where we can find you on social media or anywhere. So please hit all the tags and all the places that we can come find you so they can go get these great recipes and the book when it comes out.
Yeah. Well, on Instagram is where I'm most active. It's at Grill Girl Robyn with a Y. And then my website, if you're ready to make your turkey tomorrow, where you got the holidays coming up, I have a gazillion recipes for you. Grillgirl.com is like, that's my website. Where you're going to see the real me is on my stories on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, not as active there, but
Okay.
and if you
Trying
want
to
to
be.
talk about any of these concepts or pick my brain on anything, my email is robyn with a Y at grillgirl.com. Like I have a lot of
You're
people
here.
pick my brain on stuff because I am the queen of rabbit holes.
Yes. And you're also I notice when you're an open person, people will come to you be like, I had the craziest thing, but like someone said to me the other day, they messaged me and they're like, hey, did you know that a bunch of glitter was left into the ocean and like glitters are part of bombs? So hypothetically, if we had the other part of glitter that makes it a bomb, would the ocean blow up? I'm like,
You're like,
maybe.
what?
This is an interesting concept, but I'm never gonna be like, are you a moron? Well, I might.
Right,
But
because you're open minded,
but I'm like, hey,
and
let's
I know that I
explore
can have
this.
open conversations with you, and you're
Yes,
not going to
yes.
judge, which
No,
is why
no.
we were friends like instantly.
I know. I was like, just tell me whatever. Like, you want to send me your poop? Fine. I've literally, my girlfriend before, she is vaccine injured from the COVID-19 vaccine. Dude, the clots that she sends me from her period are
Oh,
diabolical. Diabolical. I won't even talk to her for a couple weeks and all of a sudden I'll just get a clot. I'm like, hey,
that's
Jamie.
really scary, and also
It's very
reiterates
scary.
why you did not get it trying to get
Oh,
pregnant, right?
110%. And like we've let go. Like I don't think either of us can. It might be him. It might be me. I don't know. We're looking into adoption. It's like $20,000 to adopt a baby up here. So there's a lot to that. But either way, I'm glad I didn't. But I'm glad that I'm a place that people that got it know that they're still okay to come and talk to me. Like most of my
Yeah,
best friends got the COVID vaccine during the pandemic. No, I wasn't friends with most people that got it because they wanted me dead, and I just couldn't be around that. Right? Like not they didn't say it like, but you could tell when people are posting stuff online and being like, "Oh, unvaccinated people." You're just like, "Oh, well, that's me." I actually got so upset because I was in the middle of like, I just had a miscarriage. And so I got on Facebook one
um,
day and it was like height of the pandemic. And I was like, I want you to replace the word unvaccinated with my name. So when you're saying the unvaccinated should go to an island, I want you to say Brandy should go to an island. I want you to humanize these people that you're dehumanizing here by putting us in the group of unvaccinated anti-vax. I'm not anti anything. I'm pro informed consent. And that got real lost. And ever since then, I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. Tell me what you want to say. I'll say whatever I want to say on my show because I went through my trials during the pandemic being like, y'all, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'm not a grandma killer. Are you fucking kidding me? Do you guys know me? I'm just a stoner with fertility issues that got fucked up by birth control and was like, hold on. Seems weird. I've been
oh,
abused before. What are you talking about? And then there were some people that validated, but there wasn't a lot, right? So, like, just point being, fear also just puts us in a really weird spot. So when we're talking
yeah,
about this too, I don't want anybody to feel fearful that everything is killing you because, but
yeah.
also don't be such a pussy and realize that you do have to take your life in your own hands and you have to be your own advocate in all avenues. It does not matter. And that's kind of always my theme. Be informed, don't be afraid, but be like aggressive for yourself.
100%. And to your point, like, yeah, like I said some strong words, like, these people are trying to kill us, which I do believe to be true,
Oh, I
but
do believe that, but I don't feel like someone's going to come to your door and shoot you with a gun. Well, maybe, but like, you know what I mean? I don't think it's like they're like, "Oh, who you are, I'm intentionally coming to do this." They want to make money and you're going to get hurt in the offset of that.
yeah. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like, like you have to live your life,
Mm-hmm.
but you can be more cognizant of your choices, right? Like,
Totally.
let's say you're on a road trip and you have to eat fast food.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shit, that sucks, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But like, take the bun off the burger and just eat the meat and the cheese because, like, that's a good way to get rid of the gut disrupting
Totally.
grain,
Yeah,
and also the glyphosate, and then you're just eating meat and cheese, and if you have some tomato and lettuce with, no big deal. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
you're making smarter choices, but you're still living, like, you have to live life. You
totally.
know.
And if you have that
Um,
hunger, don't, like, I think, like I said, the intentionality of it and hating yourself, the byproduct is not going to be good for you. So it's like, I did it, let it go. I can make better choices and then try to make better choices the next time. Right?
Not letting things go and being too hard on yourself is damaging,
It is.
as we demonstrated in our
It's soul
last
fracturing.
podcast together.
Exactly. Right. That's why it all loops together. Right. So it's just either way, I love people that are aggressively taking their mental health, physical health, spiritual health into their own hands and not just following the line. Like we as Canadians up here, we just listen. We've always been the nice Canadians. We just do what we're told. Not anymore. Not anymore. No. And like you are in charge and stop putting that to somebody else. Right. Like there are these bad things out there. No, I can't really stop the chemicals, but I can stop what I'm eating. I
Yeah,
can do mental, emotional regulation. I can try and get good sleep. I can try to drink more water. I can support my bodies in other ways and detox by parasite cleansing. And I can look into that. And if you're scared, just ask questions, right? And I
yeah.
think my biggest thing is find people that are talking honestly that aren't making a shit ton of money, right? Like
I have
that's just
nothing
kind
to
of how
lose by talking about parasite. I mean, nothing to win by. I have
exactly.
nothing to win by talking about parasite cleansing.
No.
My website is about grilling. That's why I never
Yes.
talk about it there, because I don't want to gross people out.
Yes. Oh, for sure. But you can come gross people out on my show at any time. See, that's what
Want
we
to
have. You're
become
going to teach.
friends? I
Yeah,
will send you
exactly.
pictures of my poop.
Yes, I
Okay.
will put them in here. We'll put them as the ending before the scrolling. And just like, if you don't want to watch it, then exit now. But if you do want to see them, we'll put them up here after this. But Robyn, this has been such an amazing conversation. I think we could probably talk for 4 or 5 hours. I think we both determined that. But we will have you back in, whether it's at the end of the season or beginning of season 11. I know I said I was probably going to be done at 10, but I don't think I'm going to be done at 10 seasons.
I
I
love
made a
it.
promise that I was going to be 10 seasons. And then I was like, I'll decide in season 10. And now that I have like maybe 4 or 5 episodes left of the season, wrapping it up now doesn't seem right. But I was like, Friends did 10 years. Friends did 10 seasons. That was a great show. They ended it at the right time. But I think these conversations need to be had more and more, and they will be happening more and more. So I think I need to sit my ass here and continue parking myself and listening to these conversations. But we'll have you back on because I want to go down the other rabbit holes that maybe are just like fun ones that like conspiracy. Maybe we could just have like a fun conspiracy episode. Maybe not fun, but like talk about
I'm
all the
here for it,
government
girl.
shit, like all the different rabbit holes that we've been down, whether they're true or not. I think that would be really fun. But these two have been so informative, Robyn. I appreciate you as a person, as a friend. I love your random texts. If I don't answer, it's because I'm at a corporate job and I can't play you talking
Me
about your
too.
poop to everybody in my office or reply. So that's why yesterday Friday you didn't get much from me because I was like, I'm literally in the office with the girls and I'm laughing. They're what? I was like, nothing, just a funny Robyn text from Robyn. She's going down rabbit holes. But it was so great.
The rambling voice text is a sign that you're in my circle.
Oh, I loved it. I was like, this is so good. I'm glad that I have my headphones on right now, but I can't speak out loud to answer this one. So I waited till I was at home and in a good spot. I'm like, okay, I'm in a good spot because people know what I do at work, but at the same time I try to remain professional in my career at the time. But again, I just appreciate you. The other day, dude, when you messaged me about the write up that I did, I don't think you know that I was like in such a big heavy mental moment that I was going to give up
Oh,
everything. I was just having such a hard time like what am I doing here? And you literally messaged me that and I was like, oh my God, thank you, God. You literally put Robyn in my life to
oh,
remind me of this. I was bawling, like in all the good ways, because I really, as I think I said back to you, I was like, I don't think you know how bad I needed to hear that because
oh.
podcasting is amazing, but a lot of people don't reach out to podcasters and say, like, hey, this was impactful. Hey, I love this. They just listen and like, and that's amazing. But sometimes you're just like, does anybody care? Am I
No, I
like, what
feel
am
like
I
that all the
doing?
time as a
Right?
blogger, as a burned out content creator. You know what I mean? Like, I get that because there's so many people that watch what you do but don't say anything.
Exactly. And so you're like, am I doing anything? And then you have a beautiful little queen come in your DMs and being like, oh my God, this was amazing. I was like, oh, thank you. I needed
No,
that.
you're
So
doing something really special.
thank
So
you. I'm trying
I know
to.
you have those moments, but I just want you to know you really are.
Thank
You
you.
are
I'm trying
special
to.
and you're doing something special.
I'm going to keep doing it and honestly feel like everything leaded up. And when I opened my mind to God, it brought me all these beautiful people. And like every day been praying and I used your model that you tell me. I'm not the best at it, but I try and do it morning for sure. Maybe not always at night because I'm just trying to get out of this THC addiction. But it's just like all those things and all the things I learned from people and the guests on the show. This is like my own university, it feels like. And that's all I want to do is keep sharing people's information. But the next one, let's go fun and let's go fun conspiracies and really fuck with people's heads because people get real riled up about tin hat stuff and I just get so excited about it because I love fiction too. So it's like, how do I know this is fiction or nonfiction? Let's just read
But
about
a lot
it.
of it, I don't think is fiction.
It's not. But just like even talking about it, if it was, people get upset, and it's like, nah, we got to get rid of this conversation. People
I'm ready
need
to
not.
give people some cognitive dissonance. Let's go.
Yes, exactly. Like we're gonna fucking stuff you down the rabbit hole. It's like dragging them down with you. And I actually read
I'm already
post my
like,
mom.
I'm making my tinfoil hat with. I'm like, this is.
Let's do that.
Fabulous one. Okay.
Yes, well, let's both make actual tin hats. I'll send you the reel that I made. I put myself in complete tinfoil, and I was laughing so hard, so the reel wasn't very long. But I was like, let's jump down the rabbit hole, and then I like jumped with my like whole tin suit body. So we'll do that next time. We'll build some tinfoil hats, and we'll talk about it. But again, Robyn, thank you so much. I could keep going on.
I love you, girl. You're the best.
I love you. Okay, guys,
the internet brought us together.
I know the internet's trash most of the time, but it does have some gems in it, and that's the people that we meet and the stories that we're doing. So, guys, don't forget to go follow Robyn, Girl Robyn. I will obviously tag her in everything. Thank you guys for listening, liking, and subscribing. All the things I'm supposed to tell you to do. And until next time, guys, bye. Thank you guys so much for listening. I truly appreciate the support. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, please follow the Be Real Babe podcast on Spotify, Apple, and Rumble. You can also find me at the Be Real Babe podcast on TikTok and Instagram. Until next time, guys, bye!